Stay right there because this is a first. This is not continuing education. This is not how to. This is not even done with you or coaching and consulting. This is done for you, DFY. And it's a done for you boot camp where we will literally hold you by the hand, grab you by the shoulder, drag you by the ear. I don't care what it's going to take. It's not a doing the best I can boot camp. It's a doing whatever it takes boot camp, WIT. And this is all about the value quiz. Now, the only reason the value quiz won't work for you day and night, 24/7, while you're sleeping, playing, vacationing, working, is because you're not working it. And if you're not working the value quiz, it's not about sending traffic to your quizzes and assessments, because assessment marketing is alive and well. It's been working for about 2,000 years, since the time of Socrates, probably before that. But if it's not working, it's simply because you haven't set your value quiz up. And what I've done is I've gotten the principles of value quiz, and I am a student shoulder to shoulder with you and you and you and you. You know who you are. And my name is Alex Mondosian, and I have earned the right to be here because I've made more mistakes in assessment marketing than everyone watching this combined. And if you want to refute that, then you can take my place, because I know what is by getting rid of what isn't. And I want to start with a statement. Every predicament has a simple what? If you're in a predicament right now, if you have pain, if you're in the middle of a problem, if you're in that Shawshank Redemption tunnel, you know, where you're crawling through the sewage, in any part of your life, right? There's parts of you that may be in a predicament. I want you to know that there is a resolution. Now, some people have different interpretations of what resolutions look like. And John Gray, dear friend of mine, you know, John Gray has in Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus book, right? 40 million copies. I'm actually in a men's group with him in Marin, and we meet once a month. Can you imagine? And he told me once, he says, Alex, you can't make someone happy. You can only make them happier. So the resolution is to make you happier. If you're coming unhappy, we can't help you. In fact, if you want a world-class company, fire all the unhappy people. If you want a world-class company, get rid of all the unhappy customers and clients and prospects and suspects, because you are literally infecting your world with unhappiness. David McGinnis, who started PR Web, was on an interview during the Monday Morning Memo with one of my mentors, Roy H. Williams, and I actually donated $30,000 to Wizard Academy for the business center there and put it in my children's names. And I am a big believer of my mentors, and I want to be your mentor as a guide from the side, not a sage from the stage today. I brought the sages so they can guide us from the side, and you'll meet them in a moment. They have made the mistakes. They have seen what other people have done. I only know what I've done, which I'll be giving you my insights, but they will tell you what other people have done, and get ready to not only grab a pencil or pen. Now, this is a pencil when it's used, and this is when it's not used. Do you see the difference? I like pencils. See the difference? That means action. And so resolution to me does not mean the end. There is no finish line until your final breath. I want you to forget about results. I want you to set up your value quiz. That's what a Done For You boot camp is about. You can't utilize it, you can't benefit from it unless it's set up. You can't utilize all the knowledge in a book unless you read it to completion. So we're going to start and complete. I want you to watch out to see root causes of things. The acorn, this is one of my totems. Don't you see an acorn here? Yeah, well, it's also an oak tree. It could be. It also could be oak wood floors as a result. It also could be a baseball bat or whatever oak is used for, or it could be shade if you're sitting under an oak tree. The point is, do you see the watermelon or the watermelon seed? Do you see the redwood or the redwood seeds? Well, today, you've already planted the seed. You've said yes. I hope you're wearing your totem and your marketing totem, because I want to talk about evolution versus revolution. We are evolving today. We're not revolting. You may revolt every single day on your own behalf. You may have self-inflicted pain. Today, it's about making you happier. And when we're done, you are going to have a value quiz worthy of devotion, worthy of your prospect's devotion, so you no longer have to have rejection. Now, I want you to look at causes versus effects. Now, causes, I dropped something. That's why I'm reaching for it. This is a hangout, you know, so you'll see me make a lot of mistakes. Cause and effect are different. People look at the effect. I'll give you an example. I'll see every once in a while. I'll be surfing the cable stations, and I'll see Jerry Springer, right? And it's always interesting to watch the big bodyguards there, like 6'6" and maybe 300 pounds, and they're keeping a woman attacking an ex-husband or an ex-boyfriend or whatever. And the reason is, and I'm caricaturizing this, okay, this is not gender-based, but I want to show you the root cause. So Springer brings on these men and women, and let's just say an incident that I recently saw. I see a woman who's been very loyal to her man. And, hey, Morgana, just hang on there. I'm going to mute you out. And a woman's been very loyal to her man. But the man has impregnated 5 other women, and he's got children all over the place. So everyone's yelling at the man, yelling, how could you do it, and yeah, all the men and women in the crowd, whoo, 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 whoo. And then, the woman is coming after the man, and the bodyguards are keeping the woman back. So I look at that, and I go, wow, that's an effect. Here's a man, and the whole concept is infidelity, secrets, and all the stuff that novels are made of. But what was the cause? Well, no one ever talks about they met in a bar. No one ever talks about they met drunk and they had sex that night. No one ever talks about that he just did what he always did and she changed. He stayed the same. Now, you can flip it and say the man and then a woman who's doing the same behavior. I don't care what gender. All I'm saying is look at the cause and the effect is predictable. So if you don't set up your value quiz, you won't put assessment marketing to work for you. I want you to be action-centered, not result-centered. This causes disappointment. This causes depression. This causes comparison. This causes projection, like, oh my gosh, that person's making 6 figures, I'm making 5. That person's making 8 figures, I'm making 7. This keeps your eye on the ball, and that's what we're going to be today. Action-centered. And I want you to have an action totem. Now, I'm going to show you my action totems. What's a totem? It's a symbol of something. Now, this may offend you, but it shouldn't. It may offend you because what you've assigned the feeling to it, I'm just telling you, I'm about to say something controversial. The swastika, you know that symbol that Hitler used during World War II? That is not a symbol of death or extermination or war. That's a symbol of fortune. He took that totem and he got people behind it for destructive reasons. Are you with me? That does not come from World War II or from even Europe. It has other roots, but it was changed because of the feeling that we attach to it. This is a totem, then acorn. Now, you don't have any raw feelings toward this. Maybe you do. I have no idea. If you have an oak tree and it fell on your car, you may have different feelings about this. Or if you use an oak tree to read under, you may have different feelings. If you see a totem like a flag burning, you may have emotional responses to that. This is a totem. This totem cost $10,000 at one of my events. Everyone walked in with this hat after the VIP meeting. This is a totem of mine that George Lucas gave me. It's one of a kind, Lucasfilms. And why do I have these totems? To take action. Here's a totem of a mouse at one of the final Ultimate Internet Bootcamp, where all of our trainers I had sign, and it was an award we gave away. If you remember Lee Brower from The Secret, this is my gratitude rock, and this is a totem. I like a small rock because in my pockets I don't like to have stuff, right? And so this is a totem from Indonesia. This means that if you wore this, you were a multimillionaire. Okay, this was given to me by a friend. This hat is a totem. So what is your totem? What is your productivity or action totem? I have no idea. But what I do know is you're about to make a difference. So get ready, get set, and let's grow, grow, grow. I want to invite the founder, the creator, the originator, and the lifelong learner of assessment marketing and the value quiz. I want her to unmute herself. And Jane,
yes.
Where are you hanging out from today?
Oh, I'm in my home in Pebble Beach, California. It's a foggy day today, though, but I'm happy because your shining face makes me so happy, Alex.
Well, thank you. Pebble Beach is sometimes like Half Moon Bay. It's foggy. You can predict it.
Yeah.
If you're indoors and you're happy, then we're happy too. And tell me all about what caused you to create Value Quiz, because you're a big fan of assessment marketing. People have seen you on stages all over the world.
Well, here's the thing. What I know about sales in general is that we have to be able to connect with our clients in a deep and meaningful way. We have to be able to take that person to that place of really understanding what's off, whether you're in a relationship, world, whether you're in business, to build your business, you've got to understand what's not working. And Alex, you've heard me tell the story from stage. I got to this point where I had this massive database and I didn't know who was on the other end of those emails. And how could I help them? How could I give them the right next step unless I really understood where they were on their path, what it was that they were challenged by, what were the missing links that were keeping them from having the great relationship, having the body of their dreams, having the business that gave them the income that they wanted. So in order for me to really be the coach, consultant that I wanted to be for them, I had to know what the missing link was. So I don't know if you've ever heard me say, but my husband's most feared words coming out of my mouth, he's a techie guy, he does all of our technology, is when I say, honey, here's what I needed to do. I needed to have a tool that would allow in just 4 minutes one of the individuals on my list to go through a process and discover what was off, to be able to be a truth teller for themselves. Because really, so oftentimes when we're not getting the results we want, whether it's relationship or business or health and wellness, oftentimes that is primarily because we're not necessarily connected with the missing link. That's the key. So in so many ways, I have to tell you, this whole process has been a journey for me to really understand how do we create connection on a long distance basis. So for me, the whole concept of us taking our clients and getting them connected with what's not working, it creates that pain point that opens them up to our offer. So that's how the whole assessment piece came together. And I can tell you, Alex, we've been using it for well over a year. We've been in beta. And then when we launched the company last October, it was almost as though someone took the lid off of our business because everybody knew this was the missing link for them. So we've just been thrilled to be able to walk people through the process of really understanding the pain points so they can go in, give them what they need, and close the sale.
Well, I want to make the point that in addition to what you just said, the number one reason why people stop selling or never start to sell or enroll is this concept of rejection. And as many tricks as you try to play on yourself, like it's not me, or it's the product, people absorb rejection no matter what. And Value Quiz prevents it by commitment. Now, we're going to go straight in, and we're going to go straight to Sherry in just a moment, and then you're going to leave us. But this is your State of the Union.
Well, I will tell you something, Alex. I'll tell you, Mitch Carlson, who was at the event, we came up with this. He saw the presentation. He came up to me and said, "This is absolutely brilliant." Do you know what he said? He said, "Your campaign should be, how do you spell relief? Value Quiz." Because he said for the first time, people are going to be able to go into the sales process completely clear and have an experience they haven't had before, which is they get to protect their confidence, as you've often said, but that they get to go in and serve and have it not be that crazy rejection that everybody hates. Because
you're talking to the people who are interested, and they don't find you interesting until they're first interested. So they're committed, which is part of the Value Quiz. And also, you're checking their competency and commitment. You call it aptitude. And there is no relationship between aptitude, I call competency, and commitment. There's absolutely none. Speak to that, and then we'll start with the training.
Well, here's the deal. Everybody's on a path. And most of the experts that we're working with, Alex, they have an offer. They have a next step for someone, whether they're in the beginning stages, middle, or they're a rock star already. So most of the experts, they have a next step no matter where their clients are in the process. The key is, the further they are on the path of commitment, the more committed they are, the more in pain they're in, the more results that they want, the more likely they will say yes. And we measure that by commitment. So how that came about was I found that I was doing some strategy sessions and having a pretty great closing rate. I can tell you, as soon as I passed it over to my team, who were fairly new to it, the closing rate went down. I saw their enthusiasm go down. I saw their commitment. Really, they didn't want to get on the phone anymore because they felt as though every single time they get on the call with someone who wasn't committed, they weren't able to do their job, which is to give them a next step. So we put into the assessment, and I'm excited about this. This is the easy part of the assessment. We give you some options for the commitment, where you're going to actually test the commitment. You get to have a score that represents how committed they are to move forward, how open they are to talk with you about this challenge, how open they are to investing. And imagine, for the first time in the industry, we have an opportunity to eliminate that possibility of getting on a call with someone who's just kicking the tires, who just wants free coaching. So to me, this is my gift to the industry, because Lord knows we're all wasting too much time talking to people who are not committed.
Okay, well, I'm committed to do it for you. We're going to drag people. So Jane, go ahead and mute out, and we'll go straight to Sherry. And I want to introduce Sherry. Sherry, what gives you the right to lead this training? Because I'm going to do the PowerPoint, and you're going to lead me step by step. What has earned you the right to be here?
Well, I think all the value quizzes that we've put in place, and I've had the honor to shepherd, hundreds now of value quiz people through the process and taking their value quiz live and basically putting into place everything that Jane just talked about. So I'm really excited to be here, and we're going to have lots of fun today.
Okay, shall we go straight to the PowerPoint?
Let's do.
Okay, so here's how we roll. We're doing this so we set it up for you, and we're going to give you time in the form of about 30 minutes to execute. Execution intelligence is what we're giving you. This is not continuing education. This is so you set it up, and like a rocket that takes off from Cape Canaveral, it uses up 80 to 85% of its fuel, rocket fuel, and it loses most of its mass in the first 76 miles, which is the atmosphere where gravity is pulling it down. And once it's outside of the gravitational pull, 76 miles, not much, right? I don't know how many meters that is, but or kilometers, but more than 76, I can tell you that. Over 100 kilometers. Europeans will probably course correct me. I know that that rocket, with what 15% of fuel left, can land on the moon and come back home with very little effort, because they took off. This is the 76 miles. What's 76 divided by 500,000 miles? I have no idea, nor do I care. But it's infinitesimally small. Get a globe, like a 16-inch globe, and go like this. And the condensation on the globe is the atmosphere. Buckminster Fuller taught me that. That's not from Alex, in case you're wondering. That is how much effort it's going to take in distance, but the shortest path between point A and point B is not a straight line, folks. It's not a straight line. Not if there's a 1,000-foot mountain in front of you. It would take you 10 years to dig through it. The shortest path is the path of least resistance. And so that's what we're going to do. We're not only going to shepherd you, we're going to push you, we're going to pull you, we're going to drag you, we're going to do kicking and screaming, I don't care. You're going to have 30 minutes, and you're going to send an email, and write this down. What email will they send the results? Because the first one in gets to be case study. That's a verb. Value quiz that campaign, that's a verb. Google that word, that's a verb. Facebook him or her, that's a verb. When you have been a verb, and I'm indoctrinating, anointing value quiz and verbalizing it as value quiz that campaign, value quiz that seminar, value quiz that strategy session, that is a verb, right? And so if you are a verb rather than a noun or an adjective, even worse, a prepositional phrase, which I don't want you to be, what I want you to do is email this address. So Sherry, where are they going to email when the results are done? We're going to tell them what to do.
We're going to email it to sherry@janedeuber.com. So it's SHERRI, and it's Jane, DEUBER.com. And what we'll do is when we come back from the break, we're going to, the first person that comes in, first couple hopefully we'll have time for, we're actually going to show your statements or whatever you want to bring up live and give you feedback real time on the Hangout today. Okay,
and I have put the link so everyone can see it. I don't care if you're watching live or recorded live. You have the link to see it. So let's start with the first slide, Sherry. I'm going to go back and forth to you, and I'll tell you when I come back to you so you can look at the screen. But take us away. This is the first slide.
Perfect. So what we're going to do today is we really want to go through all three pieces of the value quiz assessment. So we're going to start with discussing your branding and what you need to do to get the framework and the structure really of your value quiz going. Then we're going to dive deep into outlining the assessment itself. And there's a couple of key pieces we'll talk about there. We'll talk about the intro, and then we'll also talk about the assessment statements. And I really think about the assessment statements as the meat of your assessment. It's the items that your prospect's going to be going through and giving you their feedback on where they are today, and that of course gives you the information to really be able to support them in how they get to where they want to be. and then we'll finish off with looking at your thank you page and your autoresponders, and those 3 pieces are going to give you the tools that you need to take your value quiz live, hopefully just within days after this boot camp today.
Okay, next slide. You ready?
I am.
Okay.
So this is who's here. You just heard from Jane, and of course you know Alex. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide.
By the way, I got a new picture, and Sandra, my partner, put it up on Facebook, and it's amazing how many likes and comments you can get just on a picture. So that's the new picture. If you're watching this a year later, you're going, what's the big deal? I've seen that forever. But just putting a new picture can get a lot of comments. If you have a new assessment, that'll get a lot of new results. Go for it.
Absolutely. So why are you here today? Well, I hope you're here today because you want to get your value quiz live and working for you in your business just as soon as possible. And that's what we're going to do. So if you're here for something else, then we'll figure that out, I guess, as we go along.
Well, leave if you're here for something else. You are here to get stuff done. Don't waste your time. It's not a waste of our time because we're training anyway. Unless you're going to grab your mouse or your mouse pad and your keyboard and do work for you. This is for you, not for us. You've invested in this, and investments are appreciating assets. You're not paying. You've invested. So I've already got you to tripwire the yes. It does not make sense to not do anything. We're going to force you, and I'm going to acknowledge you publicly, and you will be the first case studies that everyone will see in the Done For You cookie cutter approach, which this is. This is coming from a predicament from Value Quiz's help desk. You know, I was consulting Jane and Sherry and their team, saying, why not have a boot camp where we do it for them, and that way there won't be any frustration of people buying it and not utilizing it. So that was a predicament, and the resolution is the result of this boot camp. Is that true or false, Sherry?
Very true.
And this is not our very first boot camp. Is that correct?
That's right. We've done several of these now, and we add new things and have more fun every time we do it.
Okay, well, they say many is a charm. This is an amazing group of Done For You clients. I'm kind of smuggling that. That's what Sandra Bravo, my girlfriend and partner and operations director, says. She has a Australian Mexican accent, so that's a very unique accent. And it's your Done For You support team. We don't help you. We support you, and the big difference is you're doing the work, and we're supporting you with a safety net. You're on the trapeze. We're not. We're catching you on the other end. You're the one flying through the air. All right, go for it.
Cool. So the assumptions going in order to get the most out of your value quiz, the 3 things that you really need to know in your business are, first, your target market. Who is the ideal prospect that you're talking to? That's going to help you develop the best content, if you will, for the assessment itself. You also need to know the transformation that you create in your business. And I know everybody that's here today knows the difference that they're making, and that's really what you want to communicate to your prospects when you're talking to them through your value quiz. And then finally is the process that you use to create it. We'll talk about where that becomes important because it helps you to create the categories that we're going to put your statements into that your prospects are going to give you feedback to. So that's going to be very helpful to you as you develop your value quiz.
And I will also say that one of the assumptions is that if you know your target audience, I want you to write it down in the space provided where you are watching this hangout. I don't care if you're watching it live or not. Let everyone know who you are, where you're hanging out from, and who your target audience is. All right? Now, let me tell you, clear. I am rebranding my company. I'm right there with you. And my target audience are 2 avatars. Remember the movie Avatar, the greatest movie of all time? Well, my target audience is a brick-and-mortar business owner. That's brick-and-mortar Billy and brick-and-mortar Betty. They have 1 to 25 employees. They're making $250,000 to $25 million, and they want to add a digital marketing division to increase their sales and decrease their costs. So that's one group, not startup. The other group is a serial entrepreneur. A what? A coach, a consultant, a speaker. I call them serial entrepreneur. You'll see them at networking events. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I like those guys and gals. 100,000 to $10 million, 1 to 25 team members, and they're looking to clarify their marketing message, to confirm who their market audience is, and to capture media such as Hangouts like we're doing now and repurpose so that they get massive reach through content and not through trickery trying to outsmart Google or YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. So that's my target audience. So who is your target audience? Write it down. If you're not crystal clear, then this is going to be a sticking point for you, and there's no way you can continue because you are speaking to your target audience. Your statements, your value quiz statements, is all about your target market or audience. Should we continue, Sherry?
Let's do.
Who is that in the lower right-hand corner? That's me. That's all my life. That's what I look like today.
Yeah, I think it's how some of us as entrepreneurs feel when we wake up in the morning or go to bed at night. I'm not sure which. So what we wanted to talk about a little bit is the watch outs for today. What we don't want to have get in your way is that little voice that all of us have. And Alex always does the flick on the shoulder, and that's what we're going to ask you to do today. Don't feel like you have to do it all at once. We are going to move pretty quickly today. Don't feel like because you didn't finish a section that you're behind. It's just fine. We're really here today to give you the outline and the framework so that after the boot camp you can dot the I's and cross the T's and be ready to go. Also, really, the need for perfection. Alex talks about procrastination and perfectionism as our biggest detriments, if you will, in our business. So it doesn't have to be perfect. The beauty of Value Quiz as an online tool is that you are going to change it as you go. You're going to learn from your prospects and from the process. And so the first pass doesn't need to be perfect. Don't spend time thinking that it does. And then avoiding that negative self-talk. We all have it. Flick it off your shoulder when it comes up and go to what am I going to do right now to make my value quiz the best I can.
And
so
perfectionism and procrastination, the evil twins, anything negative self-talk, we're not asking you to stop forever. We're just asking you to stop for now. And then you can go back to it after we're done. That's it.
That's right. So a couple things that we're requesting. We really are here as a team today. Act in the spirit of mentorship. We're going to look for solutions as anything comes up today, and really take responsibility for yourself. Make sure you have something to drink or whatever you need. If you need to step away for a minute, take care of yourself. We also ask you act in the spirit of collaboration. We want to understand what you need, and we ask that you understand that when you move on, it's because we want to get through everything today, and we are here to support you, not just in the boot camp, but after the boot camp is over today. And finally, focus. As much as you can, eliminate the distractions. It's so tempting in our technology world to check the email or answer the phone. As much as you can, focus this next couple of hours here on your value quiz so that you can get it working in your business quickly.
And is it okay if we send everyone watching the PowerPoint so they don't have to worry about perfectionism or procrastination? Is that okay, Sherry?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go on.
Okay, so how's it going to work today? We're going to do a quick laser training segment, and what we want to make sure is that we give you the tools to be able to get the work done. Then we're going to take a break. We're going to take 2 30-minute breaks today, and in those breaks, that's when we're going to have you doing the work. We want you to really dig in and actually work on getting your assessment going in those breaks. We'll come back after that. We'll do some Q&A, some feedback, and get your questions answered so that you can move on to the next segment. If you can go to the next slide, Alex, a couple of housekeeping things. If possible, if you're in a noisy area, mute so we don't have noise coming in. If you need help, we have Jackie McConnell on the Hangout with us today. Jackie's one of our fabulous content managers for Value Quiz, and you can reach her at the email there on the screen. Jackie, back up. Whoops.
I will. That's what a Hangout is for this to happen. And in case I did a quick review, the universe did a quick review. Go for it.
There you go. So her email is jackie@janeduber.com, and the telephone number is also there on the screen, and I can put that in the chat too, so they have it there. It's
and if you're dyslexic, now a lot of times, we chat by email because it's inexpensive. Now we've called everyone. If you've come on board, we've called you not once but twice, and you've got calls from me. And many times, if you're at an event or maybe you're online, even if we ask you to do it twice, some people put a name that's misspelled. And so that's happened to some of our folks. And imagine someone spending 5 figures, 4 figures, and someone else is getting the emails with the misspelling. So make sure you spell Jackie correctly, because if it's misspelled and it's getting opened, we're not going to follow up. We assumed you wrote the right email. I do have a couple dyslexic students who we have to look out for, and we're looking out for their own right. Jackie is J-A-C. That's a Q. That's not a G. J-A-C-Q-U-I-E at Jane Duber. That's EUBER.com. Once again, J-A-C. You don't have to have uppercase J, by the way. I just did it so you'd read it easier. J-A-C-Q-U-I-E at Jane Duber. Remember, E before U there, .com. And then you have the phone number. And to log in, I'm going to show you my screen, but Business Mastery Learning Center is where everything is. Should we go to the next screen?
Yes, let's do. You will want to be logged in, because as we go through the sections, when we take our break, you're going to want to pull up your own template so you can start doing the work in your very own value quiz. A couple things I wanted to mention: the orientation. And Alex, we may want to go to the Learning Center and have them show the orientation page of the Learning Center here.
Sure. I'm going to change screens and go to this center, which we measure how you do because there's a progression checklist. Jane is about action. We all know that. And she's about results, but you can't get a result unless there's an action. You can't get a result unless there's a cause. There's no effect, right? So this is all action-centered, and the orientation is up here. You can see this okay, yes, Sherry?
I can.
Okay, I'll make it even bigger for everyone. You're going to click on orientation, and that's where you begin. And here's a word: congratulations. Actually, if you're seeing this, good job. Your steps to getting started. You listen to this welcome, or you can download it. It's a very short message, and that's from Jane. That's number one. And what if people haven't listened to this? They don't have to do it today, but what can they expect from this audio?
So the audio really gets you started on how to best use the Learning Center, tells you a little bit about how to go through, how to use the progression checklist and the tools that we have in the Learning Center. And as Alex said, we're giving you permission today only to cheat. So on the right side of the Learning Center at the top, you'll see the progression checklist. And for today, you can go ahead and check off those boxes, and that will allow you then, when you hit the update checklist there at the bottom, that'll allow you to move on to the next module, which is the creating your branding. And I do want to acknowledge everybody on the line. I went through this morning the folks that were going to be here today, and almost every one of you have completed the orientation. So great job. That's going to get you really grounded in where you are starting out with your value quiz, and it's going to serve you in getting through the rest of the modules.
Well, and let's remember, if you're not watching this live, if you've done it, then you've done it. You're one of the few who do. If you haven't, then after we're done, you can go in and do it. So yes, we have people watching live, but this is a cookie cutter done for you boot camp for everyone, and that is to lower the cost and to make special offers. If you want to become an affiliate partner for Value Quiz, you'll end up making more money in the future as their costs go down. That's the reason I did it, is I wanted to lower their costs so that more people can have self-serving benevolence and spread the word out to make it more affordable to Jane and her team to pay higher commissions, because it's very, very intensive to do help one by one. But here we're doing it cookie cutter approach. Sherry, is that accurate, or am I stretching the truth there?
Nope, that's absolutely accurate. You're going to get templates and guides for everything we're going to talk about today.
All right, so you need to be logged in, and I'm going to say ethically cheat, like ethical bribery. I put that word in. You put cheat, I put ethically. And then we're going to get started now, right? That kind of looks like me as a kid, by the way.
Yeah, I love that picture. I think that's all of our Value Quiz stars here, our superheroes.
And I want to make a point. There is no wind. There is no wind. That's what happens when you are centered. The universe just like gets your cape to go in back of you. There is no wind right there. Don't even think there's wind. And, you know, I don't know if he's going to be in the clouds or in the water, but he's ready. He's got his wristbands on. All right, step one.
Cool. So we're going to start with the branding and your assessment name and URL. And one thing I want to say about this is that the name and your URL are one of the first steps that you're going to think about, but I also want you to know that you don't have to finalize that until you get your assessment draft complete. And I bring that up because sometimes people go in and they're not quite sure what to name their assessment, and it can be a little frustrating. And if you get to that place, just know that it's not in stone. Go on and don't let that hold you back from moving forward. A couple of things I do want you to know about the assessment name. You want it to communicate what you measure. And Dr. Tony gets the award. He already sent on chat his name that he bought, the relationshipcheckup.com. I love it. So that tells me what he's going to measure. He's going to measure where my relationship is. It's a great checkup. You want
Hang on a second. Let me interrupt you. I'm just going to put Dr. Tony. He's live and he gets to get branded because he did it, and he purchased the relationshipcheckup.com, and that's what he chose. Okay, so Dr. T, don't say anything yet. You'll have a chance, but we are going to honor the few who do. That's what gets people to say yes. Acknowledgement does work. So Sherry, keep going.
Yeah, so it's a great example of communicating what he is going to measure. You do want it to be 2 to 3 words. The most important thing is make it easy to remember for your prospect and for you, because remember, this URL is going to be a tool you're going to use in virtually every area of your business.
And then let me just show you, besides the slide, Morgana Ray, you can see a picture of her there. Hers is doesmoneyloveyou.com, doesmoneyloveyou.com, and that's a question. I love that. No question mark, just does money love you, and that is hers. And you know Morgana, and she goes way back with Value Quiz, and she came back a second time.
Yes, it's perfect. Cool. So, and you notice in both of those cases, their assessment name is linking to their brand. And if we go to the next slide, I want to tell you there's really 2 different directions that you can go. The first couple that we have on this slide are people where their assessment name pretty much links directly to their brand name. Linda Allred has her business Living Well with Linda Allred, and her assessment name is the Living Well Assessment. That's versus at the bottom, you see, for Value Quiz, we don't have the Value Quiz assessment. We have the assessment marketing quiz that many of you have seen, and Alex is actually the featured spokesperson for that quiz. So it doesn't necessarily have to be directly related to your brand name, but oftentimes it is. It's really more important that it's about what you measure and that it's easy for your prospects to remember. Once you have an idea on your brand name, the next step is going to be to purchase the URL. So if you go to the next slide, Alex, you can use any registrar wherever you buy your domain names now. Go ahead, purchase that domain name. What we're going to be doing is redirecting the name that you purchase from our servers, which is where the Value Quiz will be hosted, so that we have the data for the programming in the back end. We'll redirect from us to your domain name.
All right, now let me be clear. I'm going to put you on the big screen because I'm a marketer and I had a tough one with this. So basically, I can either own it or I can buy it. I own mine, funnelmarketingblueprint.com, and I'm going to have a second Value Quiz, which costs a little bit more, but once you get going, it's a lot easier. But we're actually going to send you that domain. What is the process of the domain and Value Quiz so that we're crystal clear on that, Sherry? Tell us. You're on the big screen.
Okay, so we're going to, in just a minute, we're going to pull up from the Learning Center the Branding Basics worksheet. And on that worksheet, you're going to give us your assessment quiz name, and you're going to give us the URL that you want your assessment to live at, if you will, the one that you're going to give out to your prospects. We're going to redirect to that domain. You own the URL. Value Quiz doesn't own it. We're just redirecting from our server to your domain. We're also going to create an email address for you that will be info@therelationshipcheckup.com or whatever your Value Quiz domain name is. We will do that for you if you give us temporary access to your registrar. On the Branding Basics worksheet, you'll see a little place where you can give us the username and the password. We recommend you just set up a temporary password just for the couple of days. We're setting that up, and then you can change it back so that you have your security protection on your end.
And I'm going to ask you a question. Why? Why do we do it that way? Is that the best way to do it at this moment?
It is the best way to do it, mostly because then that way we know the links are working, and we're going to take the responsibility for making sure the redirect is working and that the email is working. Part of the service is, where this is a done-for-you boot camp, it's part of the done-for-you service that we take that off of your plate, and you don't have to worry about the technology.
Okay, very good. So step 2 is done, correct?
The next slide, just one thing I want to say is that the one thing that's really important is that your URL can't be an extension. Now what this means is that it needs to be a standalone URL that you purchase. The reason for this is that if, in this example, if you gave us www.marketingonline.com/assessment and it was a sub page of Alex's marketingonline.com website, if we try to redirect your value quiz to that URL, we will literally wipe out your entire website. So it has to be a standalone URL like funnelmarketingblueprint.com. That's one of the, if you hear anything today about branding, that's the most important thing to hear.
Okay, and
is that clear, Alex?
It's very clear, and the reason sometimes you see going to other slides is because my mouse is so sensitive. I go to other slides when I'm trying to highlight something. It can't be an extension. This is an extension, / This is not. That's a root domain, and that is where the quiz is going to lie. So when, and plus people forget extensions. That's why it's stupid to have an extension. They forget the extension. They just use the root domain. So just like root cause, we're using root domains.
Yeah, and think about it when you're on stage and you're sending people to your assessment. You want to say go to therelationshipcheckup.com, not, you know, funnel marketing blueprint / / all that kind of good stuff. So it makes it easier for you for marketing purposes as well. Okay, your banner. This is just a couple of banners of our clients. You see Alex there in the middle, of course. The banner is completely your look and feel, your colors, your logo. We recommend, the next slide talks about the sizing. It does need to be a certain size so it fits in that section at the top of your assessment. You can send it to us as a JPEG or a PNG file. In terms of getting support in doing it, it's really easy to create these banners. Most of you will have a web graphics person that can do this using the top of your website is a great place to start. If you don't, we've used Fiverr for a lot of our banners. On the next page, if you're not familiar with Fiverr, it's Fiverr, I believe it is. And you can, for $5, you send them your logo, your picture, and they'll create a banner for you, make it really fast and easy.
Yeah, let me tell you, every single marketingonline.com / event, those are all our hangouts. Every single one of them is created by someone in Fiverr for $5. So rather than wasting any time with our folks, and we'll give them a $10 tip, and they thought they got, you know, a 200% raise. It's amazing what you can get done. So find someone reliable, keep going back to the same well, and make that person your banner person. Don't waste time. Please have it done for you. That is the whole point. Sherry, would you agree or disagree?
Absolutely, and it's simple for these folks. They do it every day, and they can literally get it in less than 24-hour turnaround. So that's kind of the top line on branding and your banner. Any questions on that? I don't see any in the chat yet.
Well, hang on. This is the way you get a question. Who has the first question? So I'm going to go straight into the Hangout. Dr. Tony, you're here. Give me a question. It has to be specific and clear. You know this because you're a professional. Questions and confirmations.
Well, so far, the information's been great. I just want to say that. And I asked Sherry already in the chat what she thought about the name that I came up with this morning, which is therelationshipcheckup.com.
Well, are you open to feedback on that name?
I am, absolutely.
Neither Sherry nor you nor anyone else, their opinion does not count. There's only one opinion that counts, and that's the marketing genius. Who's the marketing genius?
The person who's going to click on it.
You got it. And so they will tell you whether that's a good one or not. And if it isn't, it costs you about $10 to find out. So I want to make that clear. Remember, you're being branded to everyone who's coming through. And if I have anything to do with it, thousands are going to come through this process over the years. So just make your comments as generic as possible. You're a student right now. It's a done-for-you boot camp. Is there a benefit as a professional? You know, you're a doctor. You know, let anyone watching right now know what you do and why is this so helpful versus trying to do it yourself. Go ahead and support us a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the things that I do is weekend workshops for couples. And I do a great job in the workshops, but filling those workshops is not something that I do a great job at. And that's the reason I'm here for this value quiz, to just kind of be able to get those clients signing up for the workshops.
Okay, excellent. And then do you have any, because, you know, everyone thinks that they're in the therapy business or couples workshop business or the accounting business or the dental business or the chiropractic business or the this business, that business, everything business. That's operations, that's production. You're in the marketing business. Without marketing, you don't eat. Without marketing, you don't feed your family. Without marketing, there's no business. So you are a marketer, and the value quiz does all the heavy lifting because you only know who's committed. You don't motivate anyone. You only talk to pre-motivated people, and you send people who are not committed to your web pages, because web pages don't have feelings, and people do.
Right.
So you're only attracting motivated people. Now, if you have people as clients and they're not motivated to change, doctor, that does not assist. No matter how, the world's greatest therapist or coach can't do a thing. Would you agree with that? Yes or no?
Absolutely, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and any questions at this point representing the student body, because you are now representing them. I'll go to Morgana next, so get ready, Morgana.
Yeah, you know, right at this moment, I don't have any questions on my mind. I'm really looking forward to getting started in building the quiz itself, and I know once I start, I'm going to have lots of questions then.
All right, you're going to get to here, and just tell us who else is in the screen, because we see half a face.
Oh yeah, this is my amazing partner, my soulmate, my partner in business. This is Becky.
Well, she has a halo over her head coming from the window, so it's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, cool. We always want to make sure that if someone is gracing the video, that we indicate who they are. I only saw half her face, so I'm glad you came into the picture.
Right.
And you are going to support Dr. Tony, yes?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
We have been together, I just want to say, Alex, we've been together for 43 years.
Holy cow.
So we're celebrating that, yeah.
43, geez, I mean, did you meet at 3 years of age? What's the deal?
It was prearranged, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, that's amazing. It's amazing, as Sandra would say. All right, thanks, Dr. Tony. Go ahead and mute out. You'll be back. Morgana, go ahead and unmute yourself if you can hear me. I have no idea where you're at, but we'll give you a shot for any questions or comments. You're live. Go for it. Go for it.
Hi.
Hi. Question?
Invisible.
Oh, there you
There we
are.
go.
Yeah.
Yes, here I am. Hi.
Hi. Well, you're on the big screen. Question, confirmations, any takeaways you want to discuss? Because we're going to dive right into the statements.
Well, I'm excited about this because I have a questionnaire. I used to get like hundreds of requests for strategy sessions every month, and it was a huge waste of time. So I started having like scary questionnaires to deliberately scare people off. That was the intention.
Yeah.
But those are really designed only for, you know, my highest level applicants, and the value quiz gives me an opportunity to give something to everybody. My desire is for everybody to come to my website to take the quiz and be told exactly where to find what they want, and that's why I'm doing this.
Now, the value quiz has statements, not questions. Are you aware of that?
Oh, yeah. I already have a value quiz on a membership site that I built with Jane Duber about 5 years ago. So, but it's measuring, you know, their strength in certain areas of life and money and career and commitment. And the people who are really weak in certain areas should be directed to get what they need over here, and the people who are really strong in certain areas but weak in some areas should be directed over here. And so that's what I want the value quiz to do for me.
All right, excellent. Go ahead and mute out. Thank you for chiming in. You look great, as usual. Sherry, I'm going to go straight to you, and if Jane is listening, you can unmute yourself. Why statements versus questions?
The big thing is that with a statement, and Jane can jump in here if she's live, with a statement, you're asking the prospect to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. And what we know is that with open-ended questions, which would be more of just a question versus a statement, people can kind of get into their story. They tell you what they've said for years in a lot of cases. When you put in black and white a statement and they have to give you an answer on a scale of 1 to 10, you tend to get more of the real answer. So at the end of the day, they get clearer on where their gaps are, and you have a better picture of really where you can support them.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the slides, and I want you to know that I have found an online counter, and I'm going to start it in a moment. But first, I want to go back to our slideshow, which you will get a copy of, so that if you have additional questions, then you can go. And these are called branding Q&As. This is about your brand. There are other types of Q&As that we'll be going through. But let's write your introduction copy. There are certain parts of the value quiz, and the first part is introducing the value quiz to people landing on the page. So speak to this for a moment, would you?
I will. This is a picture of your intro. So if we could, Alex, let's go to the next slide. There's just a couple things really quickly I want to tell you about your intro copy. This is what appears at the top of your assessment. So you see the client conversion assessment here on this slide. Really, with the intro copy, what we're trying to do is we're using it to help to disqualify your prospects. Let's go forward one slide if we could, Alex. There you go. Alex talks a lot about disqualifying. What you want to do is have them read your intro and say, "What? This isn't for me." And honestly, they won't. They'll bug out. They won't even answer the statements on the assessment. That helps you because you're then talking to the people that are really interested in what you have to provide. It also encourages them to complete. We'll talk about video in just a moment, but you really want to have them see what the benefit is that's in it for them, why it's so important that they do complete the assessment, and you're giving them an expectation of what's next. In most cases, you're going to be seeding a strategy session if you're doing that as part of your strategy. So you want them to kind of get excited about what's on the other side of hitting that send me my report button. The next slide talks about video. We do have the ability to put a video on your assessment page, and we definitely recommend this. I'm going to ask Alex to jump in here. I'm learning at the feet of the master on video, and it really does make a difference, and I know Alex has some thoughts on that.
Well, I will remind you, Sherry, and everyone else watching, that means you, and you. You know who you are. Every master was first a disaster. And so I know what to do by getting rid of what not to do. And I believe this to be true. Hold your hats. All right? I'm going to put on my other totem because I love this one. By the way, when I tell someone to put an adjustment on the hair cutting razor and they go too short, there's nothing I can do, so I got to wear these hats. I don't know why they cut it so short. I'm about to go on stage. I can't believe they did that. Anyway, so this is my George Lucas hat, and this is my totem where I feel wealthy because he's a billionaire. And I love getting something from someone who talks about the hero's journey. I'm sitting 7.2 miles away I'm on Lucas Valley Road in Marin County, and from Skywalker Ranch, where everything started, Star Wars, right? And the whole power of myth, Joseph Campbell getting together with George Lucas, that whole thing started. I want you to know that video, it's okay to make mistakes. George Lucas started at number 4, then 5, then 6, and he went to 1, 2, 3 20 years later. I don't know if that was by design or by mistake, but Star Wars 1, I don't know how many years ago, started at number 4, 2 trilogies. It went 4, 5, 6, and then went back to 1, 2, and 3. And of course, everyone talks about what's up with Jar Jar Binks, and is Jar Jar Binks going to be in the next Star Wars? And I always look at what people complain about because you are a mirror. So you are what you complain about. If you're complaining about making mistakes, you're a perfectionist. Come on. Stop being a perfectionist. You'll never get started. Or you're a procrastinator. Okay? You won't finish, you won't start. Don't let those evil twins win the battle. So this guy, Lucas, has made a lot of mistakes. And I believe this. Write this down. Your success is directly related to, proportionally related to, the amount of times you're willing to look bad in public. Let me repeat. Your success, wild success, is directly related to, proportional to the number of times you're willing to look bad, embarrass yourself in public. You remember it long after they do. So go for it, ready, fire, aim. No one cares. Only you do. I often say, I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. And I've heard a therapist say that one time, and I thought it was really funny. So when we're doing this, Oh, I'm going to recommend that you do video, because when you do video, as I did for Jane on behalf of Value Quiz, I have gotten good at video because I was not good at video. You want to look at my early Hangouts and crack up and laugh? You should see my early videos, right? And so it creates an instant connection, and what it does is it disqualifies. Some people don't like my videos. They go, Alex, you're such a salesperson. I go, really? Did you buy? Yes. Well, am I enrolling or selling? Alex, you're such a salesperson. Did you buy? No. Good. Then we are not a good fit with each other. So stop bothering me. Okay? So video disqualifies and creates an instant connection, inspires direct action because you're telling them to do something. And if you want to watch my video, simply go to assessmentmarketingquiz.com. And video is not watched only. If you have to watch, it takes your attention. It is consumed, and it comes inside the body with audio. So make your video audio-centric. Your video should be so that you can not look at it and still get it. And all my videos that way, and everything I teach is that way. It's speaking in stories and metaphor. That's what I do. And I was taught by no one except for my mother, Carol Mondosian, because I had to argue against her and talk about an Armenian mother. I mean, makes a Jewish mother, an Italian mother look like a thumb-sucking baby. An Armenian mother, come on. Okay, if I could convince her to let me go to college 60 miles away from home, University of California at Irvine, I was in Pasadena, and pay for my college education with my dad, George Mondosian, that is a good salesperson. Well, I learned video growing up. You can learn video by simply doing Hangouts or not showing anyone. I recommend you do a video, but don't let it hold you back. That's a good procrastination reason. Hey, I don't have the video up. Well, let's look at the previous slide. There is no video here. Client conversion assessment. Where's the video? There isn't one. I don't have one at funnelmarketingblueprint.com. So sometimes you need video, sometimes there isn't. I send people to my funnelmarketingblueprint.com when they've seen me for an hour. Why do they have to watch another video? So everything has a purpose. I send people to a video who haven't seen me on video. And does that mean you have 2 value quizzes? No. But does that mean that it's video that is permission-based? Absolutely. I believe that someone should click on that video to play it. Don't make it non-permission based where you're forcing it upon them. We have tested it. Let me embarrass myself in front of you. Tested means I've made mistakes so you don't have to. I've been embarrassed so you don't have to. I've lost money so you don't have to. Tested. That's what tested means. I recommend video. Next slide. Go ahead. You're muted, Sherry. Good job. That's the first time you did that. Go for it.
Thank you for that. So any questions about your intro? This is you get a template. We'll show that for you before we go to the break. But any questions before we move on to the assessments, the meat of the assessment? This is the fun part.
Okay, I'm sitting at the foot of the master. I'm going to give you some coaching on that. Is that okay, on how you ask that question?
Absolutely.
Who has the first question?
Okay, who has the first question?
Okay, it's not about yes or no. You have questions. I want to know if there are any questions. So if you have a question, write them down. If you're too shy to come in here, and if it's recorded, then you can't come in here, of course. But if you're live, come in here and click on that button. I'm going to call on and pick on you guys. Tony, any questions?
Yes, I do. On the templates themselves, the 3 things about the intro is to disqualify prospects and help them to see the benefits. So on the templates, are there like the sentences that'll get us started in how to language that? Are we creating our own sentence, the whole thing, or what does the template look like? I haven't seen it yet.
We're going to give you templates for everything, Dr. Tony. Alex, I don't know if you want to open, we could maybe open the Learning Center now and show them that.
Okay, I will do that right now. The answer is it's done for you, so we're not going to make you do anything.
Right, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, and Dr. Tony, we have clients all over the spectrum. Everything in the value quiz you're going to get templates for, and we have people that have literally changed a few words and gone with our templates literally 98% to people that have totally customized. So it is up to you. We want to give you all the tools to get up and going as quickly as possible and then let you make it work for your business as well.
All right, so take me through it. Here we are in...
So if you click on, we're going to go to Module 2, Crafting Your Assessment. That's the step where you're actually writing your assessment intro and the statements. and then if you scroll down to the step number 5, I believe it is, actually, let's open the action guide, Alex, on step number 1, because that's where you'll see the templates, and it'll ask you, do you want to download it?
Whoops. That's another one. Here we go. And I'm going to go to another page because for some reason you can't see it. So hang on. I'm learning Google Hangouts in real time. And the cool thing is I'm not looking bad in public because you can't see what I'm seeing. So let's see if I can show it to you. So I'm going to look at the screen here.
It'll be a Word document.
Yeah, I see it. It's just
there you go.
It's a little difficult to get. So here we go. Go for it.
So as you scroll down, can you show the assessment on the screen while I'm speaking, Alex, so that they can see what they're going to be looking at on the assessment?
Well, I can show the Word document. I can do one at a time. So here's one assessment here, and this is an actual assessment. How cancer-proof are you? So that's an example, and the opening is, this is what we're talking about at the top, correct?
Exactly. So we just talked about the banner at the top, and we talked about the assessment name and the intro. And then as you scroll down, there will be a template for you on the intro. This is basically what we just went over. And then there's a template for you with and without a video. So if you scroll down just a little bit, there you go, sample intro, no video. There are 2 samples there that show the language that we use. One is without a video and one is with a video. So we really recommend that you almost do a copy-paste. You can copy this, put it into your template, and then make the changes so that it reflects your vibe and your energy, your branding. And you want it to reflect your personal voice, if you will.
Okay, so bottom line is you want to be in the Learning Center and take a look at what we have there, and we're going to give you 30 minutes to do this, Sherry, and I'm just going to let people loose. We're cutting the umbilical cord for 30 minutes. If you need to take a bathroom break, you got 30 minutes to take your bathroom break, and if you need to take 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, but we want you to write your intro. It should take you 15 minutes, 10 minutes to think about it and 5 minutes to write, and there's no need for perfectionism. The first one who sends their intro to Sherry at janeduber.com, that's 2 R's, SHERRI at janeduber.com, then you are good to go, and I will be the one who will be looking at it, and Sherry will be evaluating it. Now, if you have any challenges with finding this, remember that you're going to go to the assessment center. So I'm going to go back to the assessment center and show you where to find it so that there is absolute and positive clarity. So in the assessment center, I'm going to go to show where this is, and I'm right now in the assessment center, as you can see, and what we're clicking on is the action guide number 1, but to get here I clicked on crafting your assessment. Is that correct, Sherry?
That's correct.
Okay, so I clicked on this and I came here and it says module 2 action steps, and then I clicked to open and print module 2 action guide. So click on that. You don't have to print it, but that's where the templates are. Go there, and we're here to ask questions, but what I'm going to do is put on a timer, and you can come in and ask questions openly, or you can ask questions in the chat. I'm going to take a break. Sherry, it's going to be all yours in a moment. And you have any questions that you have of me before we begin, because this is the done-for-you portion. I'm giving 30 minutes, and that's it.
So two things. One is that the other document that you'll want to have open is the assessment template that's in step 5 of the action steps.
Let me go there. Let me go there. So, step 5, the assessment template. There's step 5 under module 2, step 5. So you're going to do number 1 and number 5. Well, what about 2, 3, and 4? Well, I'm going to ask you, hang on a second. I'm going to ask you to focus on 1 and 5. So the assessment template is here, number 5, and the action guide is number 1. Anything else, Sherry?
Yeah, what I would suggest, Alex, if we want to take a break and work on their assessment intro, let's take 15 minutes instead of 30 if we could, because I really want to make sure that they get enough time to work on their assessment statements. Okay. Or I can go through the statement information first and we can take a longer break.
Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to continue, and then I want to do it the way you did, because I was thinking 30 minutes for the intro, and that's my error. So we're going to keep going on the PowerPoint, and you're the most polite guest I've ever had. Thank you. So,
no problem. No problem.
let's
Okay.
go back. Now, everyone got ready to go, so now that you're ready, we're going back to the PowerPoint. So we recommend how many categories here?
We recommend 4 to 5 categories, and that's because we really want the assessment to be able to be completed in 3 or 4 minutes. You want people in and out, and we found that around 20 to 25 questions, or statements, sorry, my mistake, statements is going to get you there in the 3 to 4 minutes. So it's 3 to 5 categories of 3 to 5 questions or statements. The statements should be related to the transformation that you really give your prospects in your business. So many of you have a unique system or a 5-step process that supports your transformation. Oftentimes, those will become your categories. So Morgana, I know, has already done some work in the Course Concierge course that she has. She has those already broken out into steps that she takes in her process, or the areas that she works with her clients on. So in the action guide, you'll find some questions that you can use as thought starters if you're not really clear on what those categories might be. So start with that if they don't kind of pop out to you right away. Finally, make sure you're not pioneering. Don't worry about it again. Put something on paper. We'll start with it, and we can always come back and adjust it as you get feedback and get deeper into the process.
Well, while we're on that, I think the single most amazing document is what Jane has done for us, and whoever has been responsible for this, because I want to say not only number 1 is important, number 5, but this assessment statement master list. Talk about doing all the work for you. I mean, I came up with my statements very, very quickly, and I have 5 statements for 5 categories. So that's 25 statements. And my final statements, I have 5 of them. Some people have 4, some people have 3, but that's the commitment section, which is the final section, which we'll talk about in a moment. But this assessment master list, make sure you print it out and take a look at it, and we're going to put you on trial. We're going to have you do the assessment statements and the introduction in that 30-minute segment, or as much as that we can possibly do, and then we're going to come back with some Q&A. So Sherry, when the 30 minutes is about to be up, what's the 30 minutes going to involve, so I'm clear, and then we can go with the slideshow?
Sure. In the 30 minutes, my suggestion would be to focus mostly on your statements, your categories, and your statements, because that really is the meat, and I think it's where you're going to get the most value with the feedback. The branding, of course, is important, and it's also pretty easy for you to put together. The intro, we're giving you a template that is going to do 98% of the work for you. So your statements and your categories, I think, are the core to spend that time on.
Okay, great. And once you're done with that, you can do an intro if you want, and borrow and steal, and
exactly.
But the point is, start with the end in mind. Start with the statements, because that's the root. That's the acorn. That is the watermelon seed leading to the fruit. And we don't want you to focus on the leaves and the branches first, which is the intro. The root are the statements. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right.
Okay, good.
In terms of the statements on the next slide, I already mentioned you're going to have 3 to 5 statements within your categories. You really want to make your statements so that it's pretty difficult to answer a 10. Oftentimes what I like to do is to read the statement and in my head make sure that the first thing that comes to my mind is really a yes or a no. And then the prospect can use the slider bar scale for distinction. If it's a yes, is it a 7, 8, 9 yes, or is it a 10 yes? We're looking to create distinction for the prospect to make them aware of the gap between where they want to be, which is the 10, and where they are now. So the more you can make those statements clear, the better you're going to be.
All right, let me close the loop here, Sherry, if I could. So I'm Alex, and I have the Funnel Marketing Blueprint, and this is my first section called Vision. That's what I called it. Now, it's amazing how many people have vision, or fission, as Sandra calls it, as their opening category. You don't have to have that. You can call it anything you want, but you know, I'm always flattered when I'm modeled. You can use it, and you can have as many statements as you want. We're saying 3 to 5. I have 5. The more you have, the more time it's going to take. Now, how do I utilize this in a strategy session? I call it a rapid revenue session. Well, I focus on strengthening strengths. So when I'm in it, I go, I noticed, Sherry, that you really know the importance of having a different funnel for each niche or niche that you serve. You rated that a 10. Tell me more about that. Now, let me tell you where that comes from. when my then wife, Amy, that's what I've heard to call it, instead of ex, my then wife, at least Sassamich taught me that, my then husband, right? So that's something I'm borrowing. When we are in a parent meeting at school, teachers are smart, but they're not very smart when it comes to personal development. They focus on the kids' weaknesses, and they start with the parent-teacher, meeting with all your kids' weaknesses, except with the Mondosians, because I played benevolent dictator, and I just bulldoze my way. I don't care who's sitting next to me, and this is when I was married and not married. I take over because I fed my family based on this principle, and listen carefully. I asked the teachers, I spent a lot of money on these teachers, right? I asked them, I know we're going to talk about Gabriel or Brianna's weaknesses and what they have to really get better at, but tell me something that Gabe, tell me something that Bree is really good at, that they really shine. And so now the teacher, in the 20-minute segment, talks 15 minutes about how my child shines, their strength. And that takes up the majority of the conversation. For the next 2 weeks, protects my child's confidence, because that's all they focus on, because I'm literally smuggling positive feeling, and the tide rises and the grades go up as a result of where they're weak. In other words, strengthen strengths and outsource weaknesses. So when you're looking at a strategy session, it makes absolutely zero sense to me. If you're training with me, do not reduce your prospects. Look for the 10 or the 9 and say, I notice you really have the importance of having a different funnel market for each one of your funnels. You got that down. Tell me more about that, and let them brag, because now you're going to get a new client. Because you're not going to go to saying, hey, I notice you're just pathetic at using funnel marketing as an entry point to your sales prospecting sequence. Why are you so bad at that? Okay, that's the way traditional education works, strengthening weaknesses. But if you do that, you'll have a lot of strong weaknesses. Focus on the strength. So I would focus on 5, not on 3, and that's how you use it in the strategy session. Comments, confirmations, contradictions. Sherry, what do you have to say to that? You and I have never talked about that.
That's exactly perfect, and in the process that we teach, it's exactly what we do. Start by acknowledging them where they're strong, and then move on to where their challenges are and where you can help close that gap. So that's perfect.
And if there's any gap between the time they took the value quiz and then you can talk about that. That's called coaching. All right, warning, what to watch out for.
Okay, a couple things to watch out for. You need to make sure that all your statements go in the same direction. So we always talk to our prospects in the ideal state. You don't want to mix it up and have one be in the ideal state and one be in the not so good state, because then you're going to wipe out, if you will, the answers on their scores. You also need to watch out for measuring more than one thing. I always use the example of a client that worked with sleep disorders, and the statement that they gave us was, my bedroom is 100% comfortable for sleeping, and I get 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep each night. Well, those are really measuring 2 things: how their bedroom is set up for sleeping and whether they're actually getting the sleep. So when the prospect answers that statement, you're really not going to get a good response from them of what you're really trying to get to. So watch for that. And when possible, you'll notice on the last slide, Alex's statements are all on one line. If you keep your word count to about 17, you're going to keep it on one line. It just makes your assessment look a little bit cleaner.
Did I drive you crazy and Mario crazy with those single line things, right? Did I?
He did. I have to admit you did, Alex. We were taking out little words to try to get it on one line.
That's correct. And I do not do not shy away. I stand on it. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I want all the statements one line, because the easier it is to read, the more likely it is it will be consumed. Let's talk about the resources available.
Okay, so if you go back to the Learning Center, I think it's be easier to show them there on the action steps.
Okay, great. I'll do that.
What we've done is we're giving you resources to create your statements in multiple ways. Alex already mentioned the master statement list, and that's in, I believe it's step 3 of the action steps. Yeah, there we go. That list is over 150 statements that you can pull directly from that list or use as thought starters. They're categorized by category. So there's a vision, there's a mindset, there's everything to Dr. Tony, there's a relationship section in there. So use those and pull the ones that make sense for you, or use them and say, you know what, I don't like exactly that wording, and make your own adjustments. #1 resource. There's also an audio recording there. I wouldn't necessarily suggest you use the time for that today, but it is Jane actually coaching live a client on how to edit her statements to make them more strong.
Okay, I'll tell you flat out, do not play that audio. You are wasting your time. I'll be very direct. We are doing what Jane is doing, so you don't have to listen to that. Don't overanalyze. Get past your little voice. Don't look at the assessment statements and say, oh my gosh, there's so many. Do 3 per category and get done with it. You can do 5 later. Keep going, Sherry.
Great suggestion on the 3 per category to start, Alex. I love that. And then finally, if you want to look at some other assessments later, you can go to the Value Quiz homepage. It's valuequiz.com, and there's a Happy Clients tab that has, I don't know, it's about 25, I think, right now I have on there, assessments of different clients, and look at what other people are doing. Not to, quote-unquote, copy their statements, but to get ideas for your categories. So lots of resources for you to use. Next slide, and then we're going to take our break. I know you're raring to get going. Commitment statements. Just a couple things I want to say about commitment statements. This is really where you are finding out how committed that prospect is to taking action. One thing I want to make sure everybody realizes is that the score for that section is not included in the total. I get panic calls every once in a while from clients saying, oh my gosh, the score is not working, it doesn't add up. We purposefully don't have the commitment section in that total quiz score because you want all 10s on that section, and you don't necessarily want all 10s on the aptitude sections. The purpose of the commitment section is to identify the prospects that are highly committed to taking action. It allows us to tailor their autoresponders so that you spend your time, your one-on-one time in those strategy sessions, only with the people that value it and that are ready to invest in taking the next step to get support. The strategy session is a privilege, and we really want to set it up that way in all the copy as well as in who we offer the strategy session to. In your template, you're going to get the templates for these statements again. Most people use them pretty much as is, but you can adjust them if you want to. Perfect. So now it's time to get started. Yay! So I say we take our 30 minutes, and the email is there to send me the statements so that we can go over them live when we get back together. And you're going to start the countdown clock, Alex? Is that how we're going to do it?
What do you mean I'm going to start it? I've already started it.
You already started it, of course.
Take your bathroom break now. I recommend you take it now. Or if you can hold it in, then do your statements and then send Sherry your statements. That's what we're looking for. And then if you're done, you can go to your introduction. So we're focusing on statements. Go for 3. If I see 5, I'm going to be all over you. I want 3 per category. Why? Because it's easier to be amazing for a better vision. Okay, now if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll find out soon enough. So it's 29 minutes to go. Sherry, you can talk. I'll keep this timer up. And we already know that it's Sherry, SHERRI, at janeduber.com. If you're watching live, you can assist each other. But Sherry, I'm going to put you live, so I want you to know you'll be on the live camera. I'm going to take a bathroom break, then I'll give you a break, and I'll be coming on live. Okay, so give me about 300 seconds, and I'll be back. Let's see if I can take a bathroom break like a man very quickly. Okay, go ahead. You're live.
You got it.
All right, you're on the big screen. So walk us through some things, and just you can sit there and ask questions if you'd like. But remember, people are working in the background.
Okay. Right now, hopefully you're in your learning center and you're opening up the action guide and opening up the template. It's step 1 and step 5 in your action guide.
I would play music, Sherry, but I've got banned on YouTube, even though that the music I play is from YouTube because it's licensed, so I'm not going to take the risk. So I'm going to keep this private, but I would love to play some classical music that's public domain, and I don't want to take a chance.
Oh, that's a great idea. We'll have to figure that one out for next time.
Yeah. And why don't you go into the uh, the the chat and just chat with folks who are a little bit more shy and not coming in, and let them work if they need any assistance. But this is your time, folks. You got 27 minutes left, and remember, email to Sherry. Sherry, just make sure you keep track of who comes in first. So it's interesting. Dr. Tony is asking a question right now that probably some of you have been asking yourselves, especially if you do work with partners or two people. And so the question is, okay, so here I am, and the word I is in the statements. I as in the declarative first person. And I really love first person because I is self-talk. So when I'm doing FAQs from stage, I always give the frequently asked question to enroll people and run to the back of the room, as you probably have done. You definitely have done. You've done it with your laptop. I know that. Well, what I do is I'll always make it declarative. So the first person is really important. You disconnects, even though good web copy, good copywriting, sales copy is you. That's the most important word in the English language when it comes to copywriting. Vic Schwab said that. He was the mentee of Maxwell Sackheim, who created the Book of the Month Club, and he also wrote the headline, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which ended up becoming a book, and Dale Carnegie made it a #1 bestseller, and everyone should read that book. It all started with Victor Schwab. He's a copywriter, and he found that you and your were the most commonly used words in ads back 100 years ago, and guess what? They still are. However, statements, I believe, should be declarative, affirmative, and going the same direction that Sherry talked about, but in the first person. However, if you're going to state it versus third person or second person, you know, them, third person, you, your, for the second person, I and we, to me, is in the first person, because if you have a couple, I and we are the same thing. Why me? Why us is the same thing to me, even though us is plural and we is plural. So I don't have a good answer for you, Dr. Tony. I'll lean on Sherry, what she has found. I can just tell you, having worked with clients who do couples therapy, having worked through with Harville Hendricks, with Imago Therapy, and Gay Hendricks, two Hendrickses in the same industry, he and his wife. Bottom line is, and I know all the transformational leaders, they work with a lot of couples, as does John Gray and many, many others. Let's see, I can name names, but some of them know each other, some have divorced each other, so I'm not going to name names. I was about to give a divorced couple, but they're very well known. And what's interesting is we or I don't know the answer to that. I think it would be very interesting to get Sherry's response. I would test two things, and I don't know how to go about this. I would test we first, okay? And I would tell them, take this together as a couple. But really, there's three people. There's the partner, and then the other partner, right, man or woman, right? I can't just say man or woman, because it could be man-man or woman-woman. There's the partner, and then the other partner, and then there's the partnership. So there's really three beings, if you will, and 1 and 1 make 11, right? There's a synergy there. They don't make 3, I think. So in looking at the value quiz, you may want to test and track, and if they take it together, you may cause more conflict in taking the value quiz as a couple than if they were taking as individuals. What would be very interesting to me is if, and this is not the spirit of your question, I'm actually hitchhiking off of it because I think it'll come up a lot. I would have folks take it together, and I would take them separately and see where the disparities lie. There is a concept called disparity theory, which my then wife Amy came up with for her master's degree dissertation at University of California, Santa Monica University. I think that's what it's called, but it's in Santa Monica, and it's for spiritual psychology. And you may have heard of it, you may not have, but disparity theory was the concept. And wherever there's disparity in the emotional or mental or physical or physical realms, 4 levels of consciousness like they teach, if there's huge disparity there, especially in the spiritual, right, then you got a problem. You got to align, right? So taking them separately and having the assessment be as an initial tool to last twice as long as an initial consultation, I think would be very interesting. I'm not saying this is what to do as a marketer. I'm saying that would be interesting to consider as an option. And also taking it together. what I would recommend that you do, and this has not been discussed, is if you're going to do work with people, have them take the assessment before and then have them take it after, and then see how they improve. My good friend, my Lama, my mentor, my partner, T.R. Vecker, has graduated millions of people through his Millionaire Mind Intensive, and the key to Millionaire Mind Intensive is not all the great processes that people have ripped off from Harv and have been transformational leaders in their own right, right? That's because they work. That's not what makes the MMI so amazing. What makes MMI, the Millionaire Mind Intensive, so amazing is you take an assessment when you start, where your money blueprint is, and then you take another one afterward, and within 3 days, you've experienced a change. And so taking the value quiz before and after is critically important, and I do that with my $25,000 clients. If you're watching right now and you want to become a $25,000 mentoring client, then I encourage you to take an assessment called the Funnel Marketing Blueprint at funnelmarketingblueprint.com. And whatever you've paid me, I will discount the $25K from what you've paid me, so it's fair, because the value quiz and assessment marketing states, and this is Alex talking, this is not Jane, this is Alex's opinion. I believe that all people are created equal, but with assessments, not all people are treated equal. So if your commitment is low, I ain't going to treat you with personal care. I'm going to send you to a website because I want to protect my confidence. But if you have high commitment, no matter what your competence or aptitude is in the previous sections, then I'm going to talk to you in a group. And so have them, when they come through the value quiz and they actually become a client, when they're done, let the transformation be the end, because they're getting the before already, and they will, by default, it's human nature, they want to improve, they will be even more gentle on themselves, they'll vote higher, and you'll show a before and an after with a value quiz. So interview them and take a video before, and then take a value quiz, which is an assessment, and a video of them after. I teach chiropractors how to do this, dentists how to do it. You know, in the first chiropractic visit, the guy's like this. God, my back hurts, and God, I just can't. And then I have them in a 12-week treatment plan. The after is like, I can't believe it. I mean, after the first visit, I can't believe what it was like. But 12 weeks later, look at me. I'm jumping, and I'm on 93 years of age. And then do another after a year later. Before, after, because you want lifelong, let me repeat, lifelong clients. So before and after is powerful, but before, after is even more powerful. Bill Phillips, Body for Life, taught me that. And so using the assessment as I or we, I think you can have a lot of fun with it. My recommendation for the purposes of this assessment is turn all your we's to I or all your I's to we. Stay consistent, your choice, and only 3 statements per category. Sherry, if you're here, I'm going to go to you and see if you agree or disagree. Go ahead.
I do agree, Alex. And one thing I want to say for Dr. Tony is the difference between I and we on the couples quiz specifically is they're measuring 2 different things. When the statements are worded starting with I, the prospect is really measuring exactly how they feel as an individual. When it starts with we, they're measuring their perceptions of how they would answer that statement as a couple. So in the case that I think you're looking at, what the client is doing is bringing them together and looking at where their perceptions of how they're really, what their scores are as a couple, where they're the same and where there are gaps. So that if in the intimacy section the one person is saying that they're all 8s and the other person is saying that they're all 2s, then obviously they know that that's a section where they're not congruent in terms of how they're evaluating the relationship. So it truly depends on what you want to measure specifically for you in relationship.
Okay, and you have your camera off. I just want you to be aware of it. We have about 9 minutes left.
I'm back.
And there you go. See, I mean, moving pictures is so much better than still shots. Okay, we got a background, and you're doing great, Sherry. I'm going to give you a 9 out of 10, and I think that your clarity is 9 out of 10. Now, the next question is, what would make it a 10? So go ahead and ask me.
What would make it a 10, Alex?
To complete this, because if I gave you a 10, I don't want you to quit. So I think it's a 10, but let's pretend like it's a 9, okay?
Okay.
All right. And then we have about 8 minutes left. Morgana makes the point, and Morgana, if you want to unmute yourself, I will. If you don't, keep working. She makes the point, typical value quiz improvement before and after of her virtual training, and she knows what she's talking about, is a 50% improvement. Now that's massive. A 50% improvement, if she's stating it the way I understand it, is if they had a score of 100, I'm just using a round number, then it would be 150. So imagine you're 50% stronger, right? So if you can bench press 200 pounds like I can now bench press 300 pounds. Well, if you can bench press 500 pounds, you can now bench press 750 pounds. An improvement in losing weight. If you want to lose 20 pounds, you've just lost 30 pounds. Are you with me? So it's massive. And what happens is the faster and the more you improve, the easier it becomes to improve. So, Sherry, I'm going to divert to you, and if you've gotten any emails yet, we will check those out. But in the meantime, I'm going to put the timer on. You can just chat with me on the group chat, and we'll be quiet and let people keep working.
Perfect. I'm checking for emails right now.
Keep it going. This is called ruthless compassion, gentle pressure. Release your creativity in this Done For You workshop. And we're going to speed up. We start slow so that you keep up, and we're going to speed up. So get ready, because that's why we're here. Six minutes to go.
I haven't had any emails that have come through yet, so if you're in the next, I would say 2 or 3 minutes, if you want to go ahead and send anything you'd like us to take a look at, it'd be awesome.
And this is very, very doable. This has been tested and true. We're not pioneering here. So if you don't have your statements done yet, we're talking 4 sections, 3 statements each. You're modeling, okay, you've had 30 minutes and a lot of silence time. Send them over to sherry@janeduber.com. And if we don't get any, I'm just going to do mine, because I'll tell you the history and the psychology behind mine, and I'm doing a second one as well. And this is a really, really, really good time to check your perfectionism. Remember, do you need 5 sections? No. Do you need 5 statements per section? No. Does it have to be perfect? No. It just has to be good enough for us to share it and coach you. So this is Done For You coaching as well. Your little voice is alive and well, and get more acquainted with it so that you now know that you don't know that it exists. If you don't know that you don't know, well, that's a blind spot. But if you know that you don't know, that's a student. And knowing that you know, that's a teacher. There's one more group. I'll talk about that when you're done. So 5 minutes, go for it. There's a scenario where, Alex, stop talking, I'm working. Guess what? You can mute me out. You have total control of your universe. So if that's happening, little voice, stop complaining, mute me out, and work. Okay? We got 4 minutes. Go for it. I want it half-baked. Send something that's half-baked, half done. Give me section 1. I don't care. Send it to Sherry. There's the email. All right, let's talk about Agnesia. She's all the way from South Africa. So, Agnesia, if you're on, come in live so we can acknowledge you. But let's go ahead and read her statement, Sherry.
So she sent in her vision, mission, and purpose statements. So her first statement, I can see she pulled from the statement master list. So yay, woohoo for using the tools. It's I have a clear, compelling written vision for both my life and my business. So very clear, and that will definitely fit on one line. So good, good, good. And then she has, I have a visual representation of my vision, such as a dream board or dream book. So again, that's from our statement list. So I love how you're using the tools. The third one is I review my goals and vision daily to keep me focused and inspired. So you can see that the similarities in those statements, they're all 17 words or less, they're all focused on one thing, and they're pretty much a yes or no answer in your mind before you use the slider bar for distinction. So great job on that category. Then her next category is mindset inner game statements. And it says, I have a strong belief in myself and my ability to achieve my goals and dreams. I do not take it personally when I hear a no or an objection. And I have strategies for moving out of a place of fear, disappointment, or negativity. So I believe these are from the master statement list again. So I'm really, really glad to see you using the master statement list. Then she has a statement a category called general, and this might be where she's getting into her specific area of transformation. She says, I have been an analyst for more than 5 years. My suggestion there would be you might make that a little bit more clear by saying something like, I've been an analyst for more than 5 years with a steady stream of clients, or something that's a little bit more qualifying could help you to get some distinction there. That would be one thought.
Well, here's my thought is, she's going for analysts, right? So I have been an analyst for 1 year or more opens up the market than more than 5 years. Now, maybe you want to disqualify, but when you're beginning, you want to talk to somebody. So just 5 years is bothering me. Now, if they know they're an analyst, then that's great, but you may want to call them something else. But 5 years is really narrowing it down unless you're highly, highly, highly specialized. I recommend 1 year or more, because 1 year or more can be 5 years. Okay, so just be very aware of that. Sherry, would you agree or disagree? You're on the big camera.
I think it depends on who your target is. So if your target is only more experienced analysts, then you might want to go with more years. I agree with what you're saying, Alex, and saying that I've been an analyst for more than 1 year opens it up. You're going to get a lot more 10s with that statement than if you stay with the I've been an analyst for more than 5 years. So I'd go back to who your target market is, and again, that would be a disqualifying statement if you're only looking for people that are more experienced.
This is the qualifier here, 5 years. And as a marketer, in the beginning, I'd rather have you talk to more unqualified people so that you get to flex your muscles, Ignacia. So that's the only reason I'm saying 1 year or more. Talk to more people, and then you can always change it to 4 years or 3 years or 5 years. So that's my statement. Keep going with general. I've worked in more than one country as a business analyst, and I'm committed to obtain CBAP, that's time, CBAP certification. I have no idea what that is, but this is a value quiz for them. What would you say to something that specific, Sherry? Because this is ultra specific. She's narrowing the number of responses.
Yeah, she's definitely going to get more disqualifiers there. Again, I'd go back to the target. If you're looking to work with people that are on a track to get that certification, then the I am committed, I would shift a little bit, because they can say they're committed, but not necessarily do it, take action. So you might say something like, I am in the process of obtaining it, or something that's a little bit more direct in terms of what you want them, where do you want them to be in the process of getting the certification. And again, it goes back to your target. You have to kind of tell your prospect who you want to talk to. The same thing with the middle one on I've worked in more than one country as a business analyst. Is that a requirement, if you will, for you, for them to be your ideal client? If it is, then you may want to include that statement. I'm curious.
Let me interject just for a moment. You're going to learn more about your business by writing these statements than you've ever thought about before. Mental laziness is the greatest sin in marketing. So you're going to get to really know your business, and your business probably is a mirror of you. So look at yourself in the face in the mirror, and if you like what you see, that's probably your target audience. Your complaints, your joys, everything that you're attracting is a mirror of you. So if you're attracting people who are draining, boring, that's you. If they're enthusiastic, energetic, that's you. Now, I happen to not only believe it, I see it every single day. So when someone pops up that I don't want to be with, I'm thinking, hey, there's my teacher. That's my Buddha. There's my spiritual enlightened being. This is who I am. And so just know that the ideal target audience is something that you are interested in, and is either has been you and you're taking them to the promised land, or is you and you have to work through that. So look at your value quiz as a core curriculum, just a way for you to focus in on what your business is. You're going to learn more about the business just through this one section. I think you've gotten more money back than what you've paid just in this one done-for-you boot camp. Those of you just for value quiz, we have other options as well. Just look at how powerful the statements can be in the value quiz alone. Sherry, you want to comment on that before we go to Virginia?
Absolutely. And I think, Ignacia, what I would do is look at general. I would look at the category heading, for instance. General, it looks like in that section you're looking for their qualifications, for where they are in their professional development, and that may be a category within your assessment, or it could be more of a target market qualifier that you might put in the opt-in buttons at the bottom of the assessment. So if that doesn't quite make sense right now, don't worry about it. We can circle back on that. But think about what your process is, and that may be where you want to focus a little bit more in your statements, is what's the outcome or the transformation that people are going to get from working with you. They're going to get clear on their vision and their mindset. What else are the outcomes they're going to get, and think about what might be a couple other categories that you would want to get them to respond to.
Now, before I go to Virginia, who is a ringer, if you don't know what that means, that means someone who really knows what she's doing. And I am delighted that she is live during this Evergreen Done For You Bootcamp, because I'm going to have her either make statements or ask some questions, because everything that comes out of her mouth is very intelligent, a lot more than what I have to say many times. Before I let her come on board, which is tipping her, by the way, that she's about to come on, and putting more pressure on her, wink, wink, smile, smile, I want you to know that if you're confused about the statements, just think how confused your prospects are. If you're irritated or upset that you're not completing, well, congratulations, you started something you never would have started, ever. Ever. So you are already out of the atmosphere. See, I stretched the truth. If you started and you just wrote the word I, then you got started. And I did more for you than you've ever done for yourself if you've never been started before and you're looking at books that are collecting dust. Or if you're in network marketing business and you got excess inventory in your garage. And every time you look at the book or the inventory or any how-to course, that provides you with plenty of guilt and shame. I'm not saying you, I'm just saying that's what I feel, so I try to avoid that, and I at least get started. That's where sloppy success is better than perfect mediocrity. That's where that comes from. We're going to move on, but first, Virginia, the Hangout Mentor, look at her. I mean, darn you for getting that domain. Questions, comments, you're on a roll even before you start speaking. Talk to us.
Well, hi, Alex. Great to see you and everyone else. First of all, I'm going to say that my assessment isn't even half-baked. It's in the batter stage, and I have lots more ingredients to put into it. So, as you said, get started. That's better than nothing, so that's what I did. I'm doing a Hangout marketing assessment, and I plan to use this not only at the end of my first Fast Start week on my Hangout Mentor program, my membership site, so that people who have gone through the Fast Start program can then have an opportunity to have an interview with me and see where they want to go with branding and marketing their business using Hangouts on Air. So that's one place I intend to use it. But I also think it's going to be important to use it when just when I go to have people go to my general coaching site And also I'm thinking about using this when I go to speak about marketing using this Hangout technology. So that's where I sort of framed all this. Now, as I started the assessment, I went through your cheat sheet. I thought that's a great place to start because I hadn't formulated all my ideas. But the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking about I have 4 main categories, topic areas that I'm going to be emphasizing in my marketing or Hangout Mentor membership site. So I'm really feeling like I need to reframe it around those 4 topics. The first topic is around just how savvy are you using the Hangout tool to begin with, or how tech challenged are you with it. The second area is on branding and marketing your business and increasing engagement using Hangouts on Air. The third area is in repurposing. Alex, do these sound familiar to you?
Very, very familiar. And you know, part of the Done For You bundle is a piece of software that I'll be coaching you on to get called Hangout Millionaire at cashtrap.com. You can look that up. But whether you're repurposing or you're not repurposing, you have to be crystal clear about your target audience because you're talking to them. You can't sell hamburgers to vegetarians, but you can sell vegetables to people who eat red meat. So you got to be really careful to make your message match your market. And if you feel uncomfortable, I'd rather you feel uncomfortable, irritated on my watch than alone. Because when anyone is alone, I'm not talking to you, Virginia, in general, but just anyone listening or watching, if you're alone, you will be a lot more brutal on yourself than I ever could be. So speak to your little voice right now publicly. What comes up for you so that you can kind of be a beacon of hope for people watching, recorded or live? What goes through your voice when, your mind, your little voice, what is it saying to you when you're not completing something?
Oh, it's just, you know, get with it. Get with the program, get it done. You know that about me already. It's about getting it done, going through the steps.
Does it say your name, though? Say, come on, Virginia, you know this. You're smarter than it. What does it say to you?
No, it really doesn't. I'm a positive person, so it's more like, let's just get to this. And so if you're not getting to it, I'm more of the problem with the perfectionist side that says, oh, Alex wants me to put this in half-baked or not, and my other voice is saying, but this isn't really where your assessment's going. You just got something in there.
Awesome. That's what I want to hear. I like your little voice. It speaks like the Pope. It speaks in the third person. We, or, hey, why don't we take a look at this? You got a great little voice. So final comments before we continue. I'm glad you are here, and I'm glad that people are watching you. You are a Hangout mentor. Tell people who your ideal target audience is. Now you can promote.
Oh, well, my ideal audience are tech-challenged entrepreneurs who want to increase their visibility, their social influence, and their success using Google Hangouts on Air.
And that's what mentorship is about for you, is overcoming their technology challenges, kind of like putting a lower third and upper third like you have. You have a very unique look and feel, and you can teach people how to do it very quickly, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Virginia. We're going to go back to Sherry. Go ahead and mute out Virginia. And those of you who are also inside the Hangout, I will call on you. Believe me, I will. Sherry, we're going to move on to the PowerPoint. So let's, all of you, crack your knuckles and let's move forward designing the thank you page. We had them land on a landing page with or without a video, with or without an introduction. They saw statements and they opted in. Now, let me be perfectly clear. The thank you page, when someone sees that, that is more important than the landing page. Why? I'm going to have to look at all of you. You, and you. Okay? Okay? Look at my overdone haircut. All right? Let me just tell you, I look like Charlie Brown. All right? Do you feel comfortable now? If you have someone watch your thank you page, that's about as much as I can take. If you see someone through their eyes see a thank you page, is that person more valuable than someone looking at your landing page? Any page, not just the value quiz. Yes or no? I want to know. Now,
yes, they took action.
They took action. Sherry, you knew that answer. The thank you page is the most important page on the website. Whether it's a thank you page after an order, or if it's a thank you page after an opt-in, or a thank you page after taking some sort of an action, what are they getting for opting in? Because you're getting an opt-in, aren't you? They are getting the single most important thing to them, their report of findings, ROF. Do you realize that you're about to do what I've been doing for years? When there's a group photo of you and your family, be honest, who do you look for first? You could be as benevolent as Buddha. Who do you look for first? You look for yourself. So what do you want? You don't want an ethical bribe or a newsletter or something else. You want the report of findings to see how you stacked up. So is that email open? Yes, it is. Now, you as a value quiz owner and facilitator and mentor, do you get a value quiz as well? Yes, you do. What do you get? Their report of findings. Can that tripwire reach out to them, besides the autoresponder that you have, and just have a call go out and say, hey, you got the value quiz, and you have very high commitment. Let's get you on a strategy session right away. Could you do that? I think you could. And if they were low in commitment, and say, look, I noticed that you were low in commitment in wanting a strategy session, but this is the resource I recommend. See, you have more information now, and they have more information than they did prior. So understand that the best opt-in on earth, in my opinion, is an opt-in to a report of findings, whether it's value quiz assessment or any other. On my landing page at marketingonline.com, I have a simplified Myers-Briggs assessment, and I have 4 different types of people I talk to. Now, Sandra is a methodical on my team. I have someone on my team who's a humanistic. Now, there are 4 different quadrants. I typically attract people like me, so I have people take that assessment when I'm hiring to make sure that people are strong in areas I'm weak in. I don't want a lot of people like me. I have enough problems just managing myself. So be aware that you are giving someone a report of findings after the opt-in, and that is the most valuable thing you could possibly think of. Sherry, comments, concerns, anything that you want to say that is not in your belief system?
I think that was perfect, Alex. I think you covered most on this slide. The only thing I would add is that you do have the option to include a video on your thank you page as well. And what better way to create that connection after they have taken action and get them excited about that next step, which is the enticement or the possibility that they could get a strategy session with you, than having them see you on the video talking about how much fun you're going to have and what they're going to get out of the strategy session.
Now, why would you have a video? And you know, I'm the video guy, right? So, but I'm going to hand it over to you. Why would you have a video on the thank you page? In fact, if I had a choice, the video on the thank you page is more important than the video on the landing page, because you know one thing with absolute certainty, they took action, and I want them to check their inbox. So why would you say video is so important, as you can see here, and people can watch my video just taking a mock value quiz? Where can they go to take the value quiz and see my video? Is it
assessmentmarketingquiz.com.
Okay, assessmentmarketingquiz.com. We can type that into the comment stream. We're using co-opetition, by the way. We're using Facebook and Google Plus in the comments, so you can go ahead and do that. But this thank you page video is critically important. Are you going to do it now? No. Can you do it as a hangout? Of course. Did I? No, I didn't. I didn't do it. I did it in the studio, but you can do it as a hangout. I do most of my videos in my chair right now because it's free. Next slide. It's your turn. Any thank you page questions and comments? Who has the first question? So I'm going to go to Dr. Allen and put you on the spot. Dr. Allen has a very interesting distinction. He has been to more of my hangouts than I have been to my hangouts, because any hangout I'm hosting, he's there more often than I am, and we have now partnered with an application called the Marketing Online app. You go to iTunes and just download it for free. Marketing Online, just search in the App Store. He's part of this process in the Done For You Bootcamp bundle, and he will be teaching just like Sherry and Jane have been teaching here in another session if you're part of the bundle. So you better upsell and say yes to me if you've said no and you're a la carte, and you know who you are. Dr. Allen, I'm glad you're here because you're getting to see what a world-class Done For You Bootcamp looks like. Sherry's doing a 10 out of a 10. My question to you is, as far as having an assessment and a thank you page, do you feel you could do this in the app market for yourself? You're on the big screen right now.
Well, first, I wanted to stop by. This is sort of a drive-by hangout shooting for me because I've been listening in, and Sherry's doing such an amazing job. I'm sitting here going, now I have to step up my game in 2 weeks when I do my part. So this is really fantastic. And as you know, we actually have a link on the Marketing Online VIP app that they could download in the iTunes store to take your assessment. So to me, anyone who gets a VIP app to put the assessment in the co-brand is going to be a hugely valuable tool, and I highly recommend everyone do it. And as I said, I'm just listening in the background, and I'm really definitely, I give her more than a 10. And as I said, I have to step up my game now, and I think I'm on the 29th for those of people they're going to be there. So I'm getting prepared for that now. So tremendous tool, and I actually am sitting here thinking, with some of the marketing I do for health professionals, for chiropractors, I'm going to want to do some type of affiliate where I can go and set up this evaluation where they could use it, because one of the problems that they have, and a lot of professionals have, is they don't know how to disqualify the patients, and then they get a lot of patients that they spend time with that are patients that don't stick around and they don't comply. And so I think this is a powerful tool for any niche, and the way it's being laid out here step by step makes it so ridiculously simple to implement that I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is. Questions? Anyone have any questions? I'll go to Dr. Tony. Thank you, Dr. Allen. We got a bunch of doctors today. Questions? It's your turn to ask questions about the thank you page. Any questions, Tony?
Yeah, this is a question relating back to the IWE question, both for the introduction and the thank you page. As I'm kind of thinking through this, what I'm thinking is that I really want to set my quiz up with the I, so that one partner is taking the quiz, and I'm imagining that the one partner will take it normally anyway. But in the introduction, what I'm thinking is that I would like to have a line that says, when you complete this quiz, be sure to have your partner also take this quiz, and then do that in the thank you page as well, to be sure to have your partner take this quiz. And my question for Sherry is, in tracking the quizzes, is there a way that, say, two people are taking the quizzes from two different locations and they give different emails, is there a way that I would be able to know that these people are partners, or is there a way to put that into the autoresponders, or how would I work with that so that I could get both quizzes and know that these two people are connected?
You would need to search for them by their name. So in your back office for your value quiz, which when you go live, you'll have access, password protected access to a back office where all of your assessments and the results will be housed, and you can search there by name. So as long as you know what their name is, it'll come up, and you can actually pull up both of their assessments, and I would have those in front of you when you're doing the session with them, so that you know, again, where they're simpatico, if you will, on their answers, and where they're not.
Right, and where both partners are very different, where they're the same. So yeah, so just by so I'll get that information when they submit their quizzes.
Yes, and you can also get copies of each assessment in your inbox when they take it. So every day I have assessments come into my inbox when people are taking it that saw it on the homepage or wherever they got it, and I can take a look at those. And as Alex was saying, if I see one come in that's like, oh my gosh, this person looks perfect for a program or a service that we have, I can flag that one, so to speak. And if they don't schedule a strategy session in the next day or two, we have a specific process that we reach out to those people that are highly committed and match our profile. So that's another way you'll get that information.
Okay. And just as I'm thinking about, the whole IWE question, I'm thinking about not only in a intimate relationship, but business partners. If I'm doing business partners, it would be good to have both partners doing the assessment.
You can, but stay with relationships, all right? Because you're oozing.
In my niche, yeah, I'm just thinking about other people that.
Yeah, for sure.
Are going after business.
I want you to focus on your niche and complete it, and then when you're being mentored, I want to be promenading you in front of my list with your niche. So that's what I want you to focus on, and I will focus on the business side, because I think that we question is very interesting, which is why I brought it up. I think you're going to be the example how business people can see if they're simpatico in partnership. So That's why I want you to complete it, and I want you to go live as soon as possible. And I want to give you a challenge. You're going to be up in a week.
I can do that.
I know you can.
All of you can.
Will you do it is another question. Will you do it? So I know you can. Let's see.
I accept your challenge.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted. So Sherry, we're going to go to Virginia with a quick question, and then we're going to give people 25 minutes this time, not 30, as we go on with the PowerPoint. Sherry's going, oh, no, Alex, you're changing the format. That's correct. We're giving you 5 less minutes because 30 is the same as 25. Morgana, I see you as well. Virginia, question.
Yes, if you're offering a strategy session on the thank you page, is there any way that that can be, well, I'm just thinking about, well, if they haven't met the commitment level, I wouldn't want to offer a strategy session on that page. So when would you offer a strategy session?
That's correct.
Can I answer that, please? Okay.
Absolutely.
So I only speak to people who have a score of 35 or better out of 50. So I have 5 sections. Jane had 3 originally. I don't know what she has now, right? But it's 3 to 5. She had 3. I have 5 commitment sections, and I'm really in your face. I say if eligible, if eligible, if eligible. So when they're coming to me, and Jane says we're a little bit softer. Yeah, you be soft. I don't know if I'm hard or not. I don't want to waste my time, right? So soft or hard, I'm protecting my time and confidence, and so they know they're going to get sold something. And they know it's not about the time or the money. So when I offer a strategy session, remember, competency and commitment don't have much to do with each other. Aptitude is what Jane calls competency. So I don't offer the strategy session on the thank you page. The strategy session can be offered via autoresponder. And in that autoresponder, you can just reach out to them. Now, initially, you can do it by hand. But you can make that autoresponder say whatever you want it to say if they have high commitment, which Sherry will speak to. We can't swallow the entire elephant today, but we have gotten you started. We're working on the tusks and the fingernails, and have you seen elephant fingernails? They're pretty darn big. So the thank you page isn't the place for the strategy session. An autoresponder and a reach out after you know who's committed, and for you in the beginning, you'll get them one by one by one. I'll give you an example. Prior to going to an event, I had over 180 value quiz forms filled prior to going to an event. Now, I don't know if Sherry's ever seen that or Jane has ever seen it, but that's how I roll. And when I went into the event, I knew exactly where that room was, brick and mortar business people in Gold Coast, Australia. And I did over $100,000 in sales at that event, not because I had 2 speaking or 3 speaking slots, it's because I knew exactly where they were and they thought I was reading their minds. And I knew how committed they were. And I talked about value quiz. And so as a result, you know who's committed, who's not. I only talk to the people who are highly committed, whether they're high aptitude or not, high competency or not. For me, it's 35 or more. You decide out of how many numbers total possible. For me, 35 or to 50, that's a tripwire they're in. And guess who I start with? I start with the 50s.
Right.
Okay, then I go to the 49s, then I go to the 48. So, Virginia, does that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, thank you. And 50 is for me. You could have 30 if it was 3 questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, Morgana, I hope you're smiling with joy. You're up, and you are. Go ahead and unmute yourself because I did mute you. Go ahead.
I wanted to know if I could, in the value quiz, identify genders, because I have some things that I very cruelly exclude men from, so I don't want to annoy them with all my money goddess stuff.
The way that we could do that, Morgana, is in the where they're filling in their opt-in information underneath the statements, where you have the name and their email. Mm-hmm. We could add a additional box there for gender. I always say it's kind of like adding phone number there. It's really what's the value that you're going to get from doing that, and is the value of anybody you might turn off by asking that higher than the value of not getting it. I don't know, Alex, if you have any thoughts on that. We try to keep the number of things that we're asking them for as few as possible.
Here's my answer to Morgana, and she knows me longer than you know me. Yes, that's possible. We'll talk about it after the Done For You Bootcamp.
Okay.
All right? And the reason for that is because it'll open up a whole spring of perfectionists and procrastination questions with the little voice going, oh, now I can do this, and how about where they came from, blah, 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 blah. You know, what we want is for you to get started. So the answer is definitely yes. You should see what I've asked for, Morgana. But I think it's going to be excellent, and you do that, and I will feature you on our Friday Hangouts because I've been wanting to do that. Gender does not matter to me. You know, I'm an equal gender opportunity person. Most of my people are women. Almost 70% of the people on my list, Alex, hard-nosed Alex, are women. Most of the people on this boot camp right now live are women. So who needs testosterone, man? You guys are here, and gals, for a reason. And I believe women have an unfair advantage when it comes to the value quiz because you are pull-oriented, you are inquisitive, you are conversational. Okay, we are not, according to John Gray. We're just going to fix things quickly and get it over with, right? So the more feminine approach is to explore and to have a conversation all the time. So it's a perfect quiz and it's a perfect assessment, women especially, but if you know between gender, men and women, brilliant idea, and you're parsing your list in half. So great question. The answer is yes, and I'm coaching Sherry in real time if you can't tell.
You got it. Let's move on to the autoresponder. So this is where we give people next step. So I'm going to try to cover a couple things really quickly so we can get you some time to work on your autoresponders. We've talked about most of the competitive advantages already today. I think the only thing that I would add is when you get to the point where they push that submit button, send me my report, here's where the power of Value Quiz comes in for only spending your time with those people that are highly committed and streamlining that conversation when you actually get them on the phone. Alex already talked about that a little bit in terms of the assessment's ability to have you acknowledge them for where they're strong and to really support them in the challenge areas that they have with your products and services. So if we go to the next slide, Alex, I want to talk really briefly about how the programming works. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to measure their commitment. And on the next slide, Alex.
Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties.
Oh, there we go.
You can tell. So I'm with you 100%. Okay. But my computer is not complying. So I think I'm in the right place now.
Okay, so there you go, right there.
There we go.
So there's two steps in what the programming does for you when the prospect hits that send me my report button. The first thing that it does is it looks at their score on the commitment section. And Alex already talked about the threshold that you'll be able to set, and we'll give you some suggestions around that, recommendations. So the program looks at it and says, okay, is this person a high or a low commitment person? And depending on which they are, if they're high commitment, they get the customized copy that you've given us for the high commitment score. Same thing for low, they get the low commitment score. And then on the next slide, what's really powerful here is that this gives you the ability to customize what offer you give them. So if they're highly committed, most of you are going to be offering them a live strategy session or relationship session, checkup session, whatever you call it, so that they can click on a link, pick a time on your calendar, and either as an individual or as a group, Alex does the group strategy sessions, they're going to get your time. If they're low commitment, our recommendation is that you send them into some kind of an automated follow-up system. It could be a webinar that you've done or a training series, video series, or it could be a link to a sales page with a lower priced offer for them to experience more of your work. So you're not kind of pushing them out of your list totally, but you are making them kind of take an extra step before they get your time on a strategy session. Once you've talked to them about commitment, then the next thing the program does on the next slide is we look at their aptitude. And Alex calls it competency. This is how they scored on your categories of statements. And what the program does is, depending on whether they scored high, medium, or low, we take your total statement total. So let's say you have 5 sections of 4 statements. So a perfect score would be 200 on your statements. We divide that into 3. And the top third will get one set of copy, middle third gets a different medium aptitude copy, and the bottom third gets the low aptitude copy.
Okay, now hang on. All I want to say for all of you who are circling in their mind saying, what does that mean? The software does it for you. Let me repeat. The software does it for you. So say to yourself, it does it for me. Like
Yeah.
wee on a swing as a kid. Okay, it does it for me. So just know what's happening in the background for you methodicals, but for the rest of you humanistics and the ones who just need the answer quickly, right? You don't need to get the how. Just know that it does it for you, and we're checking for commitment. The competency is being done automatically, and that's just there to give a general score. And that's important also because if you have low commitment, then you can actually see, hey, are people high aptitude or low aptitude? And are they buying what I'm offering them? Like, I don't send them to me, I send them to one of my offers. Let's say Hangout Monetization Secrets for 200 bucks. Well, are they buying or not if they're low aptitude? And if they're high aptitude, maybe they're buying. So you can see patterns where you otherwise would not be seeing patterns. Sherry, true or false?
Exactly. That's exactly right, Alex. And on the next slide, what it really does is it allows you to customize the response that they get based on their aptitude, so that they do feel that you've seen them and understood where they are. And of course, we want to inspire them to take that next step. So it's one of the ways that you're able to personalize the communication. So yes. So now it's your turn again. So Alex, how many minutes we want to give them? 25.
I just typed in 25. We changed it in
Perfect.
real time. I'm going to start it and tell them exactly what they have to do. You can take a bathroom break too. We are here for 3 hours, so you can do it, and we're doing it for most of you. We've already done it. We've given you the templates. You just have to copy and paste. So get it started. If you're a Virginia Parsons perfectionist, get it started. Silence that voice. Am I going to start or am I going to finish? Which one's going to win? It's whichever voice you listen to. Don't listen to either one. Get started and send Sloppy Success over to Sherry. And if you're not watching live, send it to Sherry anyway. And she will be delighted because she knows that her work has a long tail and has an echo, like a karmic echo, and it's made a big difference. So I want you to ignore the 30 minutes here, and I want you to look at 25 because I believe, and I know because I've trained over 1 million people in my lifetime, literally over 1 million, that 25 minutes is the same as 30. The only difference is you're listening to your little voice 5 more minutes when it comes to 30 minutes. So, Sherry, what are they going to do? You're going to be on the screen.
Let's show them back into the Learning Center, Alex, so we can show them where they're going to get the action guide and the template for this. It's in Module 3 of the Value Quiz Jumpstart Resource Center.
Okay, let me get there. And then you keep talking while you tap dance. I will show them the Business Center. And here we are for me. So
Right.
where am I going to go?
You're going to go to Module 3, the Creating Communication That Converts.
Right
and
here.
You're going to want to open up.
So these are modules here because it
That's
says
correct.
program modules. I'm clicking on number 3.
Right.
And then now it's thinking, and I'm at the jump start. Where do I go?
So you're going to want to open the action guide, which is step 1.
Right here.
That's where you're going to find your templates. Now you're going to see the templates for the autoresponder, and that's where I'm going to ask you focus your time in this 25 minutes is on the autoresponders, and you'll see the template copy that we have for each section of that autoresponder. And the assessment communication template that's in step 3 is where you're going to put your information for what you want for your assessment. So those are the two documents that you're going to want to have in front of you.
Okay, ignore number 2. You can watch that later. You're
Right.
going to do 1 and 3. And if this confuses you, this is the hardest thing to do in Value Quiz. It confused me. And if you think you could clarify it and speak it more clearly to other students in the future, you can be our teachers, okay? Because we've done the best we could, and we've done whatever it takes, and you can teach us if you need clarity. So if you're confused, pound through it. This is the most difficult thing to get your head around. If you're methodical, this is no problem. Man, this is your food. This is like eating chocolates, man. You're going, wow, give me more, give me more. But if you're more of a humanistic style, or if you're a control freak and you're trying to figure out how does this work, no, that's not valid. Well, you're going to be in big trouble. So be open and willing, and just complete it and get it started and send it to Sherry. You got 25 minutes, and I've already started right now. All right. So Sherry, I think we're set, right?
We are, and I'll be watching the chat if any questions come up.
Okay, I'm going to mute out. Okay, heads up, less than 10 minutes. Let's get this party started. You've got less than 10 minutes. This is easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We're just talking the thank you page. And remember, all the questions should be answered. And if they're not, so what? You got us. As long as you have a value quiz, you got access to us. So look at that 9, 32, 31, 30, not as an enemy, but as a friend, because it's working for you instead of against you. All right, Jackie, we're going to put you on the big screen for a moment. We got 8 minutes. I don't know if you've ever been on a Hangout, but I know you haven't been on one with me. You look straight in the camera when you talk, and you can look at the screen when I'm talking. So you're on the big screen now. Just give me some insights. We know that this is not rehearsed. What has been the greatest discovery or aha moment for clients that come into the value quiz? You get to be in the trenches with folks. I want you to think about when do the lights actually come on and they go, wow, which is mom upside down. They go, wow. They said mom when they were a kid, but then they go, wow, as an adult. So when do you get those wow moments?
Well, I'll tell you, Alex, I haven't been on a Hangout before, but this is fun. The wow moments come after, as they move through the process. And one of the questions that I like to ask our potential clients is, what came up for you when you were taking the assessment? And it's really interesting to hear how they have pre-qualified themselves as they come into the conversation. And it makes...
Give me an example. Like, what do you mean by that specifically?
Well, for example, when we have a leadership assessment that we do, and when I have a strategy session with a high commitment person, and I say, well, what came up for you when you took the assessment? And they'll say, wow, you know, I really need to get a solid feeling for my vision, or, you know, I suck at admin. It's really incredible how they begin to see where the gap is between what they have and what they need, and it just opens the door for us to build the bridge between what we offer and how we can fulfill their needs.
And then what's the biggest frustration you get from people?
When they're not willing to commit to themselves.
Oh, wait a minute. Can you repeat that again? When they're not willing to what?
I should say when they're not willing to invest in themselves financially.
That's a commitment. That's a commitment. I mean, I'm not having you repeat it because it's the wrong answer. I think it's the right answer amplified. I want you to say it twice. You'll get to know me. I never ask unless I want to hear it again, and I repeat myself a lot for commitment. So yeah. If they're not willing to commit to themselves and their business, they're frustrated. They want other people to do it for them. Folks, if you're listening, forget folks. If you are listening right now, the most dangerous thing on earth in business or in personal life, professional or personal, is not arrogance, It's not even spiritual arrogance. I used to think spiritual arrogance was the worst of all arrogance, right? The most dangerous thing on earth while we're living and breathing is entitlement. Entitlement causes war. Entitlement causes disagreement. Entitlement causes disalignment. When someone feels they're entitled to something, in other words, I want something for nothing. It's like an acorn going into the dirt, not being watered, not provided sunlight, not being in fertile soil, and then growing into a giant oak tree. That's what it's like. Nature does not work that way. So grow up if that's you. Now, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to part of you and part of me. The little part of us that still is 5-year-old saying, I want it, I want it, I want it. Maturity, says my friend John Maxwell, leadership mentor, orator, and author, sold millions of books. He says maturity is always signified by thinking about somebody else. You know, I have an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old. Not once have they come to me in 12, 13, 5, however many years they've been living and said, Dad, you know, thank you so much for doing those sleepless nights and paying for my school and, you know, going the extra mile and just doing everything it takes. And they've never gone to say, Mom, thank you for wiping my butt when I was 0 and 1 and 2 years of age and waking up at night and breastfeeding me for those 6 miserable months of waking you up every single morning at 11 a.m. and you thought I was finally sleeping through the night, and I woke up again 6 months later and I would have to get checked by the doctor because something was wrong but wasn't. I'm just being me. Not once have I heard that. However, when you become mature, you start thinking about other people like parents do. I think parenting is the toughest job in the world. Where else, unlike prospects, you can't fire your kids. They could act out. They could think that they can't stand you and you still are raising them, right? I mean, that's the toughest job in the world. So as a marketer, you're a parent with the ability to bypass the responsibility. You can fire the flock that you have shepherded. You can fire the group that you've ushered, okay? So when you become mature, you no longer have entitlement. Being enlightened means assisting other people in any spiritual tradition. It's assisting and serving other people. When all your needs are met as an adult, right, what do you think about? How to serve someone else. What feels good? Serving someone else. But if you're financially caught up in the mess and the debt and everything else, it's hard to think about someone else. Well, now is your time to change, because the value quiz puts you in a unique position to have a disproportionately unfair advantage over everyone else in your industry, because you get to know what they're thinking, they being those prospects. And if you don't have competitors, you don't have a market. So being unwilling to commit to yourself, you might as well quit. Jackie, what do you think?
I agree, and that's usually the person that I immediately pre-qualify as someone that is not going to progress, and I don't spend a lot of time with them.
Okay, well, one person, thank you for that. One person who does take action is Ignacia, and she's really the only person from South Africa watching this, because she knows that it's about progress, not perfection. And practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent, as my friend Keith Cunningham has said and Tony Robbins has said. So, Sherry, I'm going to come back to you, because we're almost done with this training, because we have 1 minute left and then the alarm's going to go off. So if you're there, please show your video and then unmute yourself. And let's talk about Ignacia.
Hi. So Ignacia sent in her intro. I didn't get anybody else's autoresponders, so I'm guessing that you're working furiously. And her intro is awesome. She talks about, she used our templates, first of all, so she didn't try to reinvent the wheel, but she's talking about making more money and impacting greater change as a business analyst to continually improve your skills. And she's doing exactly what we talked about doing in the intro of giving them a reason to take the assessment, telling them what they're going to get out of her complimentary business acceleration session, and then asking them to watch their inbox for the report of findings. So great job, Ignacia. I think it's perfect.
Awesome. And everyone else, whatever you're working on, and you, as you're talking, I should talk in the second person. If you're working on this, then I want you to stop right now and take a deep breath. Okay, that was timed perfectly. I want you to stop and take a deep breath, and I want you to just play for the next week in the business center. I want you to play here, and what you do is just click on every link. I don't want you to read anything or view anything or even listen to anything, because that would assist you. We don't want to accelerate you too fast, because we don't want you to feel like you're getting a head start. But I just want you to click on stuff. So click on every single link. You see a link? Click it. Anyone can click a link, right? Just click, 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 click. You know, click and be free. Click, 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 click. When you get to the next step, you can cheat even and click these. Oh, yes, I did it. And click up on the update. You'll get an autoresponder saying congratulations. And so if you feel proud that, hey, I checked a few boxes, I got an autoresponder, then you get the finishing touches, then the graduation, and click, 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 and keep going, keep going, keep going. If all you did is master the Business Mastery Learning Center by clicking, that's your start. And that is my recommendation at this point, because this is not a beginning. This is not an end. This is a work in process. And that's where we're at. So if you have any Q&As right now or questions that you'd like answered, ask them right now. Whatever your question is, ask right now. Because bottom line is, we are going to go away in exactly 7 minutes for the Done For You Bootcamp. Virginia, I'm going to go live with you. Heads up. If you have a question, unmute. And I'm coaching you right now in real time. So question or comment you'd like to make, go for it.
Well, this has been a great getting started process. I really appreciate it. And I'm ready to get this done in the next week, and I'm giving you my commitment for that.
Thank you very much. Well, what did you like most about it?
Taking action. You know, I'm all about taking action. I love those checklists, and they've got them as well for this. So I have to go back, though. I checked everything off, and I have to go back and actually do what I checked off.
Yeah, well, you're doing the right thing. Well done. Let's go to Dr. Tony. You've been here from the very start. First one in, last one out. What's the biggest takeaway?
Oh, this has been great. My big takeaway is taking action, and I'm pumped. I'm halfway through everything now that we've done today, and I can't wait to get back to my keyboard and finish out the autoresponders and the survey itself, and send it off to Sherry.
Isn't it fun not continuing education? Isn't it fun buying something and actually being forced to do it in real time? You know, this is 3 hours compressed. It would take you 3 weeks to do what we did in 3 hours. So this is what you invested in, and this is in the bundle just one of many. So are you glad that you put up your credit card? Say yes, please.
I absolutely am, yeah. And I know me, and I know that this is the kind of thing that really helps me to get things done. Yeah.
Well, that's why it starts with done for you. Now, the fact is, we're doing it yourself, we're doing it with you, and we're doing it for you. But the done for you piece, just to be absolutely clear, are the templates.
Right.
So any questions that you may have, you have ongoing support. Sherry, I'm going to go to you. What does ongoing support look like?
What it looks like, Alex, is you now have the 3 pieces, the 3 templates, the branding components, the assessment itself, and then what we just worked on with the communication, the thank you page, and the autoresponders. Those 3 templates are going to be what you're going to email to wecare@valuequiz.com, and you'll have a content manager who's going to review everything you send us. So our eyes are on your work to give you feedback, to make sure that we're checking for those watch-outs we talked about in the statements, for instance. We're going to send it back to you with our suggestions on improvements, and then once everything is ready to go, we manage everything working with the tech team. You'll be live in 2 to 3 business days and out there in the marketplace using your assessment to get the ideal prospects into your business.
You haven't been educated, you have been activated. Okay, get the difference, because this is the future of training, and I want your feedback. Did it work for you? How can we improve? I'm going to ask you to take a survey in just a moment. I utilize one of these, right? It started as this. A tree sacrificed itself for me. Go look up what it takes to make a pencil. You'll be shocked. Some of you use this. Many of you use this. My preference is old school. I'm an 8-track tape guy, right? I'm like an old phonograph record. I like the old school. Why? Because I make a lot of mistakes, and I like to erase. Look at the difference. That's progress, not perfection. Now, Do I speak in metaphor? Yes. Do I speak with pictures? Yes. I just showed an eraser. One was used, one was not. If your eraser is not used, shame on your little voice for winning you over. And start listening to me. Are you with me? And if you don't want to listen to me, listen to your big voice. Because you have a big and small voice, and that little and small voice, if it wins, you know by the results that you get. Because the results never lie. Behavior never lies. So I'm going to ask you to rate how we did, because we want to know, and you better know why you're rating us. But before I do, I'm going to give you some tips and content. So grab a pencil or pen right now, and you've waited this long, and this is going to be less than 3 hours. I promise less than 3 hours. It's going to be 2 hours and 59 minutes. So Sherry didn't think it was possible. I don't know if she did or didn't, but we're going to end in less than 3 hours. So I'm going to show you 5 unusual ways to utilize an assessment or value quiz. You can do both. I recommend value quiz. And then 4 more ways. So first 5 and then 4 more. That makes 9. So here they are. Number 1, before strategy sessions. Why? To protect your confidence. The high commitment people meet with you in a group or one-to-one. The low commitment people go somewhere else. Now, somewhere else we'll talk about. Number 2, before a seminar. If you have a seminar or a training, do a value quiz. Get more than one, but if you start with one, make sure they take your value quiz, even if it's not for the seminar, because you're attracting your target audience. Take a pulse. What does a doctor do? They diagnose you. They don't look at you and say, I need to take out your appendix. Why? Because it just feels like it. No, they don't go through that. They diagnose you. They tap. They look around, they check your heartbeat, your pulse, etc. So before a seminar or a training, a squeeze page, a landing page is what a strategy session is ideal to be a thank you page for, eventually be autoresponder, as Virginia talked about. But the squeeze page here is the landing page, and that's what the value quiz should look like. If you have a value quiz on a squeeze page, what a great place to send people. Funnel Marketing Blueprint is the one that you can chop and pull and bait and steal and borrow. Why? It's mine. People have done that without my permission. You can steal anything you want, including compete with me. It'll keep me strong, all right? Compete with me, please. Next is thank you page. The thank you page, you can use a value quiz on a thank you page, can't you? If someone ordered from you, can't you put a value quiz there? Hello, can't you put a value quiz on someone else's thank you page if you're a JV partner? Hello? Those are some new ideas, right? How about a mastermind? If someone's going to pay over $10,000 to be with you, you better have them take an assessment, and you now have one that's world class, so that you feel understood. Vetting a team member. If you're going to, everyone on our team is a marketer. If they're not, they're fired. Because operations and production and marketing are 3 things that businesses do. Let me repeat. Operations, production, that's what we're doing now, and marketing are 3 things that do. Now, what costs money? Operations and production. What makes you money? Marketing. Well, if you're vetting someone, they better be a marketer to your business. I don't care if they're in accounting or not. Everyone sells in the company, otherwise they're not hired. And so why not have them take a value quiz so they can experience what everyone else is experiencing? And then a product launch. If you're going to have a product launch, you better have a value quiz there, like I did. If you have a membership site, have a value quiz. And if you're going to have an intake as a coaching or consulting client, have a value quiz there. Those are 9. Wait, Alex, you went too fast. It's in the recording. Strategy sessions, number 1. Seminar and trainings, number 2. Squeeze pages, number 3. Thank you pages, number 4. 5 is masterminds. 6 is vetting your team. Product launches is number 7. 8 is membership site. And intake for coaching. That's what most of you will utilize it for. You do have coaching. So what we're going to do is go straight to the PowerPoint, and we've already done the Q&A. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much more clarity did we bring you? Give us a score. And if you give us a 10, tell us why. If you give us a 9 or less, tell us what would make it a 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much more clarity, read the question, did we bring to you today? If it's a 10, tell us why. If it's less than a 10, tell me why. What or why it's not a 10. What would make it a 10? Are you with me? If you don't know why, don't give me a 9 or a 6 or a 0. Okay? Don't vote. So 1 to 10, I want your vote. Next, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that you'll recommend Value Quiz to friends? We want to know. Now, if you give a 9 or a 10, what would you tell them specifically? Now, this is the ultimate question that I teach, that I learned from Fred Reichelt, who's much smarter than me. And so, bottom line is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that you would recommend to friends or family members or colleagues? Now, can you get paid for it? Of course you can, but that's not the point. What would you tell them? And is this what you will ask others after they become your clients? I hope so, because you're a client and you spend a lot of money to be here. So what can you expect next? Sherry, take us away, because you got exactly 60 seconds, so you better say it fast.
Well, we've already talked about next steps. You're going to send all of your templates to WeCare@valuequiz.com. And I want to invite everybody to office hours. They happen 2 hours each week on a Tuesday or a Thursday. And you can get that. We'll get reminders out to you. You'll get those automatically. And you'll also find that in the call box that's on the left-hand side of your learning center. The next ones are 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday, this next Tuesday coming up.
I keep going back to Celebrate, and join us because we don't do enough of celebration.
That's good. I love Celebrate.
Open office hours 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific, August 12th. Gee, I wonder where Value Quiz got that idea. And number 2, celebration. You have too many goals. You don't celebrate enough. And we care. Caring is a competitive advantage. Show people that you care, because they don't care how much you know until you show them how much you care. My name is Alex Mondosian. On behalf of Sherry, Jane, Jackie, and everyone else watching and supporting you, I hope our paths cross again soon. Bye for now.